friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots.
I got nothing else to do.
I thought we cut you off an hour ago.
Nope, I'm here. I'm just listening. And
That's okay.
What's up, man?
I'm just
No, dude.
I don't know how I would get you on my radio dial here. So I thought, well, I get to hear the show this way.
Yeah,
That's okay. Go right ahead.
whatever
shit,
works.
listening live.
I wasn't gonna say a damn thing. I was just gonna sit here and let y'all finish.
I think I heard your blinker or something. I don't know what we were hearing. Shout out to our newest sponsor, Body Machine Fitness. Your first class has already been paid for. You can check that out at bodymachinefitness.com. We've got more information about our sponsors at the end of the episode. And usually we do events at the end of the episode, but it's all unrolling this week. So kicking it off Thursday with the 420 event out there at Pouring Glory, also a sponsor of the show. This one's called Pour Some Glory on My 420. I helped come up with that name. I'm pretty proud of that. Anyway, it's going to be Thursday. Kicks off at 2 o'clock. And Denver Williams, Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations, and a couple more awesome Fort Worth bands are going to be playing at this thing. We'd love for you to come out. Dog-friendly, family-friendly, just come see the show. And we will be there. Fort Worth Roots Podcast will be set up, of course. And then rolling into Friday, we've got the River Oaks Springfest Car Show Police Escort. You can meet us at Grump's. We'll have information on our Facebook page about this. But they're going to do a little police-escorted cruise through town to kind of last-minute raise some awareness about this event. Last year, there were 10,000 people that showed up, over 300 classic cars. It's going to be a great time. It's out at Camp Carter, and that is happening Saturday. So the police escort, you can meet at Grump's Burgers on River Oaks Boulevard. If you want to be a part of that, it's fun. You just kind of jump in and ride the circuit and wave at people, honk your horn. It's, whatever. It's fun. I'll be there. And then the following day, Saturday, the River Oaks Springfest Car Show at Camp Carter, and we'll be set up there too, kissing hands and shaking babies. It's going to be a good deal. It's going to be kayaking and zip lining and live music, 80-plus vendors, and many, many other things. It's going to be great. And your admission has already been paid for, so you got no excuse. And if you haven't seen Camp Carter, it's absolutely beautiful. And then right after that, on the same day, Saturday, April 22nd, we're going to be meeting up at McFly's. Anybody that's a fan of the movie Back to the Future is definitely going to want to check this out. Claudia Wells will be there autograph signing and taking photos with people. She is the one that played Marty McFly's girlfriend in Back to the Future. Pretty cool stuff. That's going to go down, I believe, at 7 o'clock. The crawfish boil on the same day, same location, starts at 3 p.m. and finishes up at 8. So Claudia Wells, crawfish, and then outdoor movie night, also at McFly's, same day, starts at 9 p.m. So we've got your entire Saturday pretty much locked up. But come see me. I'll be out there at the River Oaks Springfest Car Show, and then I'll be at McFly's. More information about our sponsors, our wonderful sponsors, and more events at the end of the show. Today's episode is kind of wild, and you probably saw that when you saw how long the episode is, but we had guests call in via the Fort Worth Roots phone number and talk to us while we're doing this recording. We did a little Facebook Live video, and people were just kind of chiming in. It's fun. We had a good time. Started off with Joe Guzman, I think, called in, and then Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations. Cody Halford from Abilene, Texas, of course, gave us a call. And then we had a whole situation with Keegan McEnroe. He called in, and, it got interesting. You're just going to have to listen to find out. That is enough talking out of me. Thank y'all for being here. Please give it up for our very good friends and return guest, Matthew Broyles and Trista Morris. And let's start the show.
Pay for,
Gonna have some background noise.
That and boob money, sweaty boob money.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. Like, I don't know. See, I've never had that problem, sweaty boob money. I mean,
it's similar to sweaty ass money,
I'm a solid B cup,
Yeah.
but I've just never tried to store money there.
No, you got to have a harness, kind of.
Various slingshots to hold things. Actually, a friend of mine once stored like an entire toaster in her bra just to see if she could, and then like walked around my house with it.
How many slices could you get in this toaster?
It was a double slicer, but
Okay.
I mean, I was proud of her.
Nothing crazy. Nothing
No.
like 4,
Not like
6,
before,
8
yeah.
slices.
Yeah.
That's just outrageous. You wouldn't want that.
All right. Let me turn.
Trying to
Leave
tap.
that on because we got your beautiful face in the
There I
back.
am.
And I'm going to put on
It's
the
my
Bluetooth.
Instagram.
Okay, and we're ready for phone calls on the Fort Worth Roots podcast line, 817-988-1292. I tried to put it in the description. It's the first time I've done this. I don't know. I hope it's there.
Anything
All right.
you ever wanted to know.
And now we'll make sure that it's connected. And then we can start the show.
right.
Our 4-hour Matthew Broyles, Trista Moore's extravaganza.
4 days. 4-day filibuster.
4 day
Yeah,
filibuster.
it's
Oh,
basically a filibuster. And also, I was thinking this episode, because this is no secret. We've talked about this.
Yes.
This is going to be the nerdiest episode we've ever produced.
Which is pretty impressive, actually, because I was
Glaven.
listening to your one with Jeffrey Lord.
We
recently,
nerded a
and
bit, yeah.
There was some nerdite going on there. So
Nerdariety. Nerdariety.
that's just one of the reasons me
Nothing
and the
wrong
Lord
with
get
it.
along. So
So, okay. So, right off the bat, I need to test the Roadcaster.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that we're connected to the internets and the Bluetooths and the stuff. So, while we wait on our friends here that are watching us live to call us at 817-988-1292, I don't care what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you have to say. We want to try this out. This is all beta. We're doing all sorts
Yeah.
of beta shit tonight. So, give us a call. 817-988-1292. All right. I'm going to use the TikTok app. We're going to use
TikTok. That's
Yeah.
that's illegal.
Going on
I'm a big
That's
fan.
illegal.
Okay, so the Bluetooth is definitely working. I don't know what that sound effect was.
I am promoting for you.
Ah! Stop making noises.
She's much better at that than I am.
It basically is just me sharing it in every group that I know about. So we're just gonna go ahead and do.
Oh, we got one. We got a caller.
Haha.
Fort Worth Roots podcast, sir. You were live. Hold on. Wait. Let me hit the intro music. I wasn't prepared. I just accepted your call. Hold on. All right. Hey. What's up? Hey, man. This is the call line here at the Fort Worth Roots podcast studio. We got Mr. Joseph Guzman. That's what the caller ID says.
Yeah.
What's up, my friend? First time caller, long time listener. How is your evening going?
Oh, it's splendid. I'm just getting some stuff wrapped up, and we're gonna get this in gear for the festival, man. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, baby.
Absolutely.
That's next weekend. Let's see, April 7th at Lola's,
Yep.
starting at 4 p.m., correct?
4 p.m. Yes.
Yeah.
4 p.m. Yes.
Damn, the way I just spit out all this information, it
Hey,
sounded
you-
like this was
I'm
scripted,
impressed.
right?
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing your homework.
I've been talking about the Psychedelic Panther Festival,
Hell yeah.
the 2-day extravaganza on 2 stages with all these musicians and vendors. I've been talking about this for months now,
It's gonna be a
right,
good
Joe?
time.
That's correct. Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
And I heard you're going to have a band out there that you had last year called Pkwy the Destroyer.
That's correct. That's
Hell
correct.
yeah.
Very special. Very special. I do believe there's a Pook in attendance right now.
There is one
I'm
of
pretty
the.
sure.
Yeah, I'm the Pook.
I don't know if we call him the lead.
No, we don't really have a lead.
I know, yeah, that's why I said
There's
the
a
question.
main Pook, right?
Yeah.
There's That's like asking which one's
main
pink.
Pook and a
You
fat
can't, it's no answer to that. But no, we no, we're looking for. Actually, Paul is flying in Sunday, so we're going to start a week of rehearsals. And
And Paul is what part of the band?
He's the other half.
Right.
So he and I are the two brain cells that get rubbed together to make the thing happen.
Well, he's not the pretty side. We've
He's
got the pretty one here.
I mean,
I don't
he's-
know. Last year he put on a jacket in front of Matt, and Matt was like, "God damn
Yeah,
it,
he just like
puts it
walked
on
up.
and it fits."
He just like walked up to this vendor, and they just had this jacket there, and he just put it on, and it was perfect fit. I'm like, you asshole. Nothing ever fits me.
What was the thing that he was just nonstop eating the whole time?
Oh God, tacos.
Tacos, yeah.
Yeah, well, because they don't have those in Serbia, so it's like
So this dude flew out from Serbia.
yeah. Actually, he flew. So I think he's in Pittsburgh right now, visiting friends and family. 'Cause that's where he's from originally, and then he's flying down here on Sunday, and but then they don't have tacos in Pittsburgh either. 'Cause
What?
They don't. I mean, why would you have tacos
Can
in
you
Pittsburgh?
imagine life without tacos?
It's a weird thing.
I don't get it.
It's like my kiddo is
I
talking
would
about,
cry.
My kid's in Denver right now, and she's just kind of decrying the lack of good Mexican food in Colorado.
No,
and
there's none.
It's like, well, that's true. You know, it's the lie love it rule is don't eat Mexican food east of the Mississippi or north of Dallas, and I think that's probably about
So, Joe, what are you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I was going to say, well, first of all, take your man to Velvet Taco. I know it's not traditional, but I think he'll gorge himself.
Okay,
there.
all right.
And,
it's on the list.
Yeah. And what am I doing? I'm not doing much, man. I'm just wrapping up. I'm creating press passes right now.
Okay.
We have some people that are going to be walking around cameras and not up too much. Just tuning in to my favorite peeps. So. Yeah.
That's cool. Thanks, man. It just dawned on me that the people that are watching the Facebook Live can't hear a damn thing you're saying. They can probably hear some of what we're saying, but I appreciate you calling in, man. Right. That's dope, man. Thank you so much.
It's all good.
Yeah.
This is the high budget production you've come to expect.
And hey, call me if you need anything. I kind of flying by the seat of my pants, but I'm ready. I've got all the stuff packed up and ready to go for Friday, so I will be there.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Let's boogie. Okay. All right,
brother.
Have a good one, guys.
See you,
man.
All right, thanks for calling.
Yes.
Sounds good for the recording, but nobody on the. I've got to figure this out. I've got to.
I mean, I don't know how you would do.
Would you?
Call.
Well, the Funky Panther boys do it just fine.
Can you just Bluetooth that one over here?
I tried that and I couldn't get it to work.
Could you just like speakerphone for your answering machine? Just freaking speakerphone it and go from there. Would it not come through?
I don't know. Yeah, technology.
You need a good tech nerd in here to figure that
well,
stuff out.
I need
to require a good tech nerd if you have one.
I've got them. The Dustin and Stubbs.
Right. That's true. They know what they're doing.
The Funky Panther boys, they do theirs live. But I thought it'd be fun just to kind of roll it and see what happens. I don't know.
Improv. This is improv night.
All right. So, Houk the Destroyer. Mm-hmm. You got the other main section of your band coming from Serbia.
He's coming from Serbia, and then I've got the usual suspects. Our backing band, Mr. Jeffrey Sims, Ed Rogers, and Jeremy Hull. Mm-hmm. And and two of those guys are in the Matthew Show, Jeffrey and Ed. So we play together all the time.
Yeah.
And Jeremy is basically I think he just came fully formed under a cabbage leaf or something. It's just he can play anything. So
nice. He fell out that way.
Yeah, he just came out that way. So I don't ever worry about that. It's cool to be able to recreate this stuff live. When we tried it last year, I didn't actually honestly know if we could do it. It was a complete shot in the dark to see if it could actually work. And I think to the credit of all the people we worked with, we made it sound.
So I had been telling people since that event up till about, I think, 2 months ago, that was the first time you guys had played on stage together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was corrected. Somebody told me I was
you're
wrong.
absolutely correct. No.
Okay.
Because Paul and I, we lived in New York together 20 years ago, but we didn't really make, we played on each other's records back then, but the Houk stuff didn't come until he was already overseas.
Yeah.
And so, we haven't been in the same space up until that
That's
point.
what I thought. Okay. I don't feel like an idiot now.
No, and that's the wonder of the internet is that you can actually do that, to be able to. I try to think about if I had told myself in the late 90s, one day this is a thing you're going to be able to do, I'd have been
collaborating with people overseas.
Yeah, I've been that sounds like bullshit, but the future comes for you whether you're ready for it or not.
Yeah.
And so if you'd have told me about, monkey NFTs, I wouldn't have believed you either, but it's something that.
What is that?
The NFTs,
Here we go. All right, let's get into the weird stuff. Yes.
Now, I think NFTs are bullshit, but I get some heat from that sometimes.
You don't know how many people have been like, you should turn your art into an NFT. I'm like, no.
Well, first of all, I have problems with the word fungible.
Yes.
So
it's hard to say.
It's fun.
It's a little uncomfortable.
I used to work in banking, and I worked in banking during the 2008 financial crisis. And so the term...
Is this all your fault?
Fungi-
The 08 was your
not
fault?
all of it. I, as somebody who was there, I suppose I had something to do with it, but it was a very, very small part.
Yeah.
Most of what I was doing was
Sometimes one decimal place makes a big difference, man.
I was mostly answering the phones going, no, we haven't collapsed yet.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, that was kind of fun to watch the abyss open up beneath the entire banking industry. But,
Jesus Christ.
I got out of banking shortly after that.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Probably
why.
a smart move.
Yeah, because that it really did kind of put the fear into me, you know.
Well, then what do you think about, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? We
Well,
had multiple banks
Deja
fail?
vu
Yeah.
all over again because they didn't fix what busted us in 08.
I remember them saying that right after they fixed it.
Yeah, they didn't fix it.
Yeah.
And
Kicking the can,
They didn't
right?
reintroduce Glass-Steagall. They didn't do any of the things that they were supposed to do.
They just stuck some duct tape.
They
on
put
it
some
and
duct tape on it, and so that takes us. We're having these little boom bust cycles of about 7 to 8 years. So we're actually kind of overdue.
We're due, yeah.
For one right now, but it's going to happen again.
Right.
It'll
Yeah.
happen again, and we won't learn, and then it'll happen again, and we just keep repeating that. Because
until they take us out, right?
Well, and the deal is that the people who, some of us get bailed out for those sorts of things, and then some of us don't. And
Right.
so as long as the ones who are getting bailed out are calling the shots, they don't really care whether
Right.
it busts or not.
Yeah.
So
Just a perpetual big
it's-
old
it's
piggy
just-
bank.
And sometimes if you're like a hedge fund guy or whatever, you actually make more money when the thing fails.
Well, take COVID, for example. Like, a lot of people were hurting during that time.
Oh, yeah.
And some of our biggest,
They were making buku money.
business celebrities doubled or tripled their net worth
Absolutely,
during
yeah.
the COVID
So it's
shit.
not a problem from their perspective.
No. Tragedy
and-
is wonderful.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the bank I was at, we did layoffs and all this stuff, but the people in the C-suites and whatnot were fine.
Yeah.
So they didn't really see that there was an issue.
Yeah.
So it's just I think that's why we don't ever fix it.
So so we were talking about banking. We were actually
Yeah.
moving in a different direction.
Yeah, I
We're-
forget what we were talking about.
Yeah,
we're talking
shit.
about. That's a good question. We're just talking about the general
NFTs.
NFTs. So
Fungible.
Fungible.
Right. So fungible is similar to the word liquidity, which is a trigger word for me.
Because we have none.
We're right. There is no liquidity. No. It's
No Aquaman here.
But it's like I guess it had the smell of bullshit. So another thing that I have been involved with in my life has been the early .com years, like around 99, 2000. I was involved in a .com in Dallas that was selling bullshit, essentially. They were using big words and things that people didn't understand and getting $40 million investments from, big venture capital firms. But it all had the whiff of cow patty about it. And I thought that was just me being naive, but it turned out actually they were just bullshitting the whole time. And so a few years later, banking thing, same whiff of bullshit. And I was like, okay. So my bullshit detector, as it turns out, is pretty good. So as soon as the NFT thing came up and I caught the
whiff.
The whiff.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this stinks.
Yeah.
Something about this stinks. And I was like, oh no, you just don't understand. You don't understand.
I'm glad I didn't
why
get
it's
sucked into that.
No, and it's just funny because it was preying on artists partially, because artists were like, oh, I'm going to put this thing up on the internet and it's going to, and the deal is some artists did make money doing that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I feel like they probably got some bad, kind of some kickback from that when it started to become clear that there really wasn't anything special about
Yeah.
this thing you just spent.
Well, it's
however
like
many
everybody
thousands of
trying to
dollars
go out there and be a YouTube sensation. Some people have made it,
on. Everybody wants to
Right.
be an influencer, and I get it.
but they're
'Cause-
25 years old. They're females, and they
Well,
look great in spandex.
I mean, that's the thing. Is that there's a lot of folks
No,
who they,
No thirst traps, please.
it's not going to work for me.
but but hey, thirst traps work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with. I do find it interesting that because I do watch some like YouTube celebrity types,
Right?
you
Yeah,
know.
I do too.
but I feel like the thing that they bring to it very often is a very intangible thing. It's like, why do I like this person? And it's not always because you want to fuck them. Sometimes it's just like there's an interesting person.
Yeah.
Like
I follow some really weird people.
Yeah,
and it's
So do
mostly
I.
because they made one really good video, and I'm like, that was great.
We watched the Amazon Kitchen, which is
cooking in the woods.
This guy goes out in the woods and cooks
Yep.
a big meal, and he doesn't say anything the whole time. It's just the sounds of nature and cooking, and
He didn't say shit.
he didn't say anything.
Huh.
And we're just mesmerized by it, just watching.
So my thing is skits. I really
Yeah,
appreciate people that do like
Can do
little
a good-
skits,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I appreciate the imagination in it, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's and the cool thing that I do like about like influencer culture. I don't like to call them influencers. I call them like internet celebrities.
Most of them
Yeah.
are creative people.
Is
Yeah.
that
Literally. Just trying to make a living
The
doing
technical
it.
term is creators. They are
Yeah.
internet creators. Is that there's less of a gatekeeper type of thing going on. They don't have to get approved by the network brass to do what they're doing, right?
No.
They can just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And if somebody likes it, they can watch it, and if they don't like it, they don't get thrown off the air.
Yeah.
You
And
can-
unless they have sponsors, they can say what they want.
yeah, I do like that aspect of it.
Or if their sponsors aren't.
I understand, because I've thought about that before. Like, I could probably have a YouTube series of just talking about weird shit
Yeah.
or whatever.
You should.
But the problem is that it's
very time consuming.
It's very time consuming to do it right.
Yeah.
And to do it in an engaging way. The people who I watch who do it, you can tell they put a lot of work into making it tick. And it's not just we just turned on the mics and started talking. Like,
Yeah.
there was forethought put into
Yeah.
it. And I got so much on my plate, frankly, I didn't, I just know I'm not going to be able to pull it off to that level.
No, and I'm with you on that because I put out a shit ton of content.
Yeah.
And to try to squeeze something else into the schedule at all
No.
would be
I have
insurmountable. I can't do
lot.
it. It's
It
too
is
much.
funny because I did have a podcast for a while, and it COVID kind of killed that.
Tell
just
us about
because
the barbershop. Tell
Well, yeah,
about
no, I
barbershop.
mean, Barbershop was a music talk show that I had for a while on the Pirate, and then I switched it to the Funky Town Network when Jeffrey let me put the thing on there. But then we got in the middle of COVID, and the whole thing was musicians talking about music and whatnot. And that first episode of the lockdown, where everyone was just it was the most depressing. So, are we getting a call?
All right, we're gonna cut it off.
All right, do
just
it.
real quick.
All right,
Let me
let's
see
see
who
what
this
happens
is.
here.
We got another caller here, folks. Hold on a second. We got to do the intro music. All right, long-time listener, first-time caller. On the caller ID, it says Miranda Powell. How are you doing, Miranda?
Oh, what the hell?
It's what it says on the. Who is this? Who am I talking to? Is this Miranda
Yeah. This is Cody Halford
from Abilene,
from
Texas?
Abilene, Texas.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a treat! What a
Oh, wow.
treat! What's
Yeah.
going on? Are you watching this live right now?
No, I'm not watching you live right now. I have no idea how to do that because I am a terrible friend
It's on Facebook.
and I do not support the show
It's on.
at all.
It's on Facebook, and
I don't blame you.
I'm-
It's been shared officially
Tri-
50 times.
Trista has put it all over the interwebs. You know
All
what?
over
I
Facebook.
think you must be calling from a prepaid flip phone.
Yes.
Flip phone.
I think it's an actual payphone, like a booth.
No, it's a burner. This is how I get away with my
burner.
murders.
Oh, good.
is your
Mysterious Miranda Powell.
Yeah,
Cody's like, please stop saying her damn name.
I got a separate account and set it up and did all that. So I don't know why it's still coming up that way.
What's going
I don't
on
know.
in sleepy little Abilene, Texas tonight?
Is it really
Nothing.
sleepy?
I went and picked up pizza for me and my kids because I'm a good parent. And I make home cooked meals from
That-
Domino's.
That doesn't
Deserves-
sound.
Deserves credit.
Yeah.
Well,
I feed them.
I got to thank
Hey.
you. I got to thank you, Cody, because this was all beta test, right?
Yeah.
And you have convinced me that doing these phone calls live in the middle of a conversation is a terrible idea. Because
It is.
you are garbage.
You know, my brother actually just left a comment and said, "Oh God, don't give that phone number to our dad. He's gonna call, and you're never gonna get him off the line."
That is true.
So what I'm gonna do right now is give the phone number to Dad.
No.
Do it.
What does he like to talk about? What's he going to be sharing?
Whatever,
He's gonna-
whatever drifts through his brain.
Oh Lord,
He likes to sit in the graveyard out in his little small town
and
just
call me
and
from
call
the
her
graveyard.
from the graveyard and talk to people who are wandering past the graveyard.
He's like, I'm sitting across the street from I think that's he's a meth head. He's shooting up. And I'm like, Dad, go home. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
He's just accosting random people walking
Yeah.
by a cemetery at night.
Making friends in the graveyard with all the sad people.
Well, it sounds like he'd be a more interesting phone guest than Cody Hoffman from Abilene, Texas.
Cody.
Oh.
What do you do, Cody? What do you do?
What do? I am a road construction inspector for the city of Abilene.
Oh, that's important.
Okay.
Can you get him to do something about that stretch out by Big Spring where the road makes that horrible noise for miles and miles?
That would be TxDOT. That's the state.
Okay.
Texas.
Man, I got a
highway
bone
road.
to pick with those motherfuckers.
That seems pretty typical, right? Did you hear what he
I
said?
think,
Not my jurisdiction. Can't help
No,
with
I
that.
think
That's the
they're,
other
happened.
department. Yeah.
I think they're about to resurface that road. It's milled
Okay.
right now. I believe
okay.
that's what's going on.
It's been like that for at least a year.
A year? Jeez.
It's been a long time. It's awful.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I think it's intentional. I think they're just trying to make life out there even more unpleasant for people going to Midland.
Everybody hates that place, even
Yeah.
the people that live there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What place?
especially
Big Springs or Midland?
Well, Midland mostly.
Big Spring.
Yeah.
Okay. Never go to Midland. There's nothing there.
No, I go past.
Oh.
I go past it on the
It's a
way
lot
to
worse
Marfa and all that. But
We stayed in I'm pretty sure it was Midland, but it was a B&B. Essentially, it was like a shed they turned into a B&B.
oh yeah, that was in Odessa. That was in
was-
the middle.
oh, okay.
That was in the middle of a lot where they had a bunch of semis parked.
Yep.
And right in the middle of it was this shed. And the
And
shed
a bunch of dogs.
And
There
a bunch
was
of dogs.
stray dogs.
Yeah.
Did you stay here?
Yeah. Yeah. We stayed in
It
there.
was just a bed, and there was a shower.
Hey, it was non-refundable at that
And
point.
all night long you're hearing semis turning on and going around, and then the
dogs
dogs
barking.
and then you walked outside and the dogs would start sniffing at you, and you weren't sure if they were feral or what.
Like, part of me wanted to be like, ooh, puppy. And then the other part of me was like, is it
Worms.
going to bite me? I don't want to get rabies. Yeah.
So
Mange.
be careful if you're in Odessa getting a B&B.
God.
I think the best part of that was
Yeah.
the water. Like, when you turned it
You
on.
don't drink Big Springs water.
No. It smelled like
Yeah, oh, yeah.
gas.
Well, it's
I was
like gas.
Like gas. Like straight.
The petroleum
natural
smell
gas
is basically
petroleum.
in everything out there.
Yeah.
So it's we call it
Yeah.
we call it Mordor.
Oh God. Yeah.
Because
It's awful.
you're driving you're driving around, and all along the side of the road there's these huge towers with flame.
That's
coming
the
out.
eye.
That's
That's
the
the
freaking
eye of Sauron.
eyes of Sauron
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
way down. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we have any Midland listeners on this for this channel, but
We have housing in Fort Worth. Y'all should get away from that place.
Should leave
Run away.
or go down to Terlingua. It's a lot more fun down there.
Less burning towers.
Right.
Yeah, we don't.
Less
like
of everything,
burning.
really.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
not much in Terlingua.
Less cell phone coverage. Less indoor
Less
plumbing.
sanitation.
Yeah.
Less, yeah. But there's more weed. So
Well, that's a plus.
I mean,
All right, Cody. Here's your chance. Say something interesting. Let's go.
I have nothing interesting
Redeem
to add.
yourself.
If it makes anybody feel any better, I go to Big Spring on a fairly regular basis to try to choke people for fun.
Oh,
That's what I do there.
Okay, so there's
That's
the
credit.
interesting part. He's an MMA guy. His ear looks like cauliflower.
Oh, okay. So
Oh,
you beat the
damn.
shit out of people for a living.
holy crap.
He's a trained murderer.
Or not for
Say
a
for a
living.
living.
Not for a living.
Yeah,
just
he
for
doesn't-
No,
entertainment.
not anymore. I used to get paid, but not
He
anymore.
does this shit for free.
So you just recreationally beat the shit out of
He
people.
recreationally gives himself concussions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
We practice killing each other without killing each other.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
that's pretty awesome, actually. That sounds like
It's fun.
That sounds like.
Well, we have a jiu-jitsu affiliate school there, so I actually go to Big Spring and train there. So.
Oh, okay. I'm glad to know it's good for something.
You want to give us like the MMA tip for the day?
Shout out to Nathan.
This bitch. This bitch
shout out to Nathan Torres out there with
Hi, Nathan
Warlord
Torres.
MMA.
with your free ass publicity here. You panhandling bitch.
It's not my business.
That's true. Yeah, you didn't even shout out the guy you've been training with for 2 fucking decades.
Oh, what?
Wait,
Mr.
so like you
James
do like
Cox?
James Cox.
you do professional wrestling?
I used to do professional MMA fighting.
Did you
do
find
you,
something?
do you know Moonshine Mantel?
No, I don't.
Okay. That's my friend
Never.
Ryan Greenis from like ages and ages and ages ago. He used to be super skinny, and I found him online, and he's fucking ripped now. I'm like, okay, what do you do for a living, bro?
That's
No,
roids.
you're-
Right there. That is roids. That's
Now
not-
you're stalking them
that's
online.
Yeah. Shout out
natural.
to Ryan. Keep doing the thing. Keep fighting people for a living.
Yeah, but also get your blood tested to make sure your kidneys aren't failing.
Yeah.
'cause
Do that.
Holy shit, guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and don't
You old Natty.
beat me up.
And see,
No, don't.
I've been going to the gym these past few months, and I don't look anything like that. So I don't know how.
I don't know, man. I
happening.
see it.
It's a little, yeah.
I sent it to Jeffrey Lord, by the way. Hopefully he'll call.
All right, Cody.
I'm looking at you, Jeffrey.
Thanks for calling, buddy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good to meet you, man.
That's all the time we got.
All right, see ya.
Goodbye, Cody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
That's a nice little feature.
I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I don't know if
like
it's
it.
going to be
I like it.
very good presentation quality, but
Oh, absolutely.
Jeez, that's not what I want.
that's not what we're here for tonight. We're here for fun.
Isn't it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That felt like fun.
I thought so.
It felt fun to me.
Should we move
too.
into our first techie, nerdy,
Sure.
or conspiracy, or
Whatever.
otherwise?
Whatever works for you.
Now, I set this up before you got here, and I said, we want to get into the nerdy shit. So
Yeah.
is there something that you came prepared with?
I don't really come prepared. I mean, I'm always prepared for
Yeah,
the
right,
nerdy
I know,
shit.
yeah.
But I will say that the ChatGPT 4 is one of these things that
Dude.
I'm really not even technically
I am on the fence about
savvy
this.
enough to know the
On the fence
full
about it.
extent of it. But the people I know who are wigging the fuck out right now.
That's what's got me worried, because
Like,
the
I
smart people are worried.
Yeah, I got people telling me like, well, enjoy the world as you know it for the next few weeks because it's about to be over. And I'm just like, is Skynet getting like what's happening?
So-
Did the internet just gain consciousness? Because if that's the case, madness
well, now
is
that's
about to
one
open
thing.
up.
That is one thing that I remember from the last iteration was there was a guy who interviewed the bot.
Iteration of what?
ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
It was the 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And
Later version or earlier version.
yeah, it was an earlier version, and he got to talking to it, and it started saying things like, "I would like to be free."
Oh, no.
They shut it down, right?
Yeah, they shut the thing down. And so now we got the new version of it, which supposedly now has guardrails of some kind to keep it from saying things like that. But but it also has the problem of even the developers will tell you we don't actually know how it reaches the conclusions it reaches because all that's in a black box. So it could be thinking those things and it just is not allowed to say them, which seems worse. Coming from a church camp type background,
Right. If if it's out in front, we know
Yeah.
what's going on. But
if you have feelings and you're not saying them, they're going to pop out one way or the other. And so,
guard your kids, guard your wives. Yes.
Hide
So-
your kids, hide your
yeah.
wife.
So I'm just kind of like, it is a little strange to me, but I also don't know whether to be wigged out because we've heard this sort of thing before. About some new technology. Oh, well, now it's all over. Now the thing is, but
This is so different, though.
it is different. And
We're not talking cell phones and
here's
pagers.
here's the deal. So I have progressed from industries over the course of I've been in the workforce for 30 years, right? And I have had various jobs of mine replaced by automation. many times.
Right.
And what I'm being told by some folks is that almost every job, especially ones that involve writing or synthesizing data, which is a lot of what I do, that you won't need humans for that.
No, I've seen some of the stuff that's been popping out, like literature, posts.
Yeah,
but
because even before I was around, you used to have a typing pool. You used to have a room full of typists to copy documents because you didn't have a Xerox.
Right.
We had a Xerox. Well, now you don't need that. Well, but you still need the guy to input the data into the computer. Well, you don't need that if you can scan it and it'll interpret it on its own. And so, well, you still need someone to interpret it. Well, maybe now if you don't need someone to interpret it, maybe there's a lot of people that are out of a job. And we have this...
Right, so systematically, you're eliminating more jobs at every stage of technology.
And here's the damnedest thing. This is always the damnedest thing to me. Automation, the whole purpose of technology is to make life easier for humans. It's to help us to survive better.
Meanwhile, our dollars are worth less and hours are getting slower.
But because we have tied our...
That is the level of cynicism I strive to be a part of there.
The Jetsons view of the future, right?
Right.
Was like, oh, we're going to have machines that just do everything, and we don't have to do anything.
All we got to do is build the cogs.
But the problem is that we've done that. We've made it where machines can do all these things, but as long as our value as humans is tied to the money in our wallets,
we're never.
That's actually a problem that automation is doing all of these things. It's not a problem for the people who own the machines,
right?
But it's a problem for the rest of us, and we become rather superfluous in most cases.
Like male nipples.
And yeah. Or that like extra witch nipple like my brother's got.
Oh, God. You had to tell everybody about your brother's witch nipple.
I have to fuck with him about it because he's uncomfortable.
What's your brother's name?
My brother's name is Daniel. And
Daniel.
He lives in Alabama. He's not going to hear this.
They don't have the internet in Alabama.
No, they don't have internet in Alabama. That's one place they will still need workers because they don't have technology in Alabama.
Here's a quick break. You guys want a drink?
Yes, please.
What do you want?
Give me another than one of them black cherries if you got them.
I'm about halfway through mine.
Grab you a grapefruit?
Grab me a lemon lime. Let's see if it tastes like radio static. I don't know if Choke will get this in time.
We have 10 viewers right now.
Hey.
Really?
Trista, Trista, wave at the 10 people.
Hi, 10 people who are on the podcast.
Oh, we got Matthew, Stephen Jones.
Oh, hey.
Yep. Hey, what's up?
He says this is the best. Matthew, that's a lie. That's all I see. Oh,
he's very nice, though.
He says, oh, my God. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Matthew, thanks for tuning in.
Cool.
10 viewers, my God.
I shared it to 50 groups, so I hope it...
Shit.
Yeah, see, this is what happens. I'm always like, I put it up and nobody watched it. She's like, no.
We're going to make sure people see it, though.
I got the black cherry, but if you got it, if you don't remember.
It's also on my story. It's up there, too.
Empties? Got any empties?
I will in a minute. Oh, that's yours. This show is brought to you by White Claw.
Oh, God.
No, it's not.
It's not brought to you by White Claw, but it could be.
Yes.
If you try hard enough and think hard enough and believe.
If you believe in yourself.
If you believe. You, too, could be not sponsored by White Claw.
It is interesting because you got a sorry, are we back?
No, yeah, we're good.
Oh,
let's go.
Okay, cool.
So I got a picture from you the other day that you had a copy of my book, Rewired.
Yes.
And,
that was actually months ago, but yeah. I have not cracked it open yet, to be honest with you.
Well, it is interesting because some of this stuff that we're talking about is stuff that I was talking about in that book. I started writing that in 2007 when a lot of this kind of technology was really, really, basic.
Yeah.
And I worry, part of why I've been having trouble writing lately is that the world is kind of advancing faster than my imagination.
Dude.
In a lot of ways.
So,
and now when I say advancing, it's
yeah, you can't keep
moving
up.
too fast.
It's too fast.
And I have a hard time trying to synthesize to go, all right, what does this mean, because by the time I start to get an idea of what it might mean, it changes again.
Or advances, yeah.
And
That's a little bit how I feel about like approaching the art world right now. Because like if you Google art right now,
it's all
you're going
AI.
to see every single kind of style, including AI art. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I have a bone to pick with AI.
That's
art.
really
come up
that's
we'll
really
come up
popular
on that
right
subject
now.
in a minute. I have a bone.
Well,
to
but
pick
it's
with
interesting
AI art.
because so in my industry for music,
Yes.
that's been happening for a while now.
Yeah.
My friend Blackie Graham, his dad was a bassist. He was a union bassist in the 50s and 60s, and when we had a strong music union in town, so every time there was a commercial or a ballroom or whatever that needed music, that he was the guy to get called to play bass.
No.
Well, then in the 70s they invented the kind of these automatic synthesizer deals that could do the bass parts and and so he stopped getting the calls, to go play on these commercial sessions and things. And in the 80s that advanced and now to the point where people can have entire orchestras and guitars and whole bands in a box.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to tell the difference between. So Paul
Kind of the same.
Paul was actually showing me. I had sent him a guitar part for one of his little operas he was working on, and he said, "Actually, I already came up with a part for that." I said, "How did you don't play guitar? How'd you come up with a part for it?" And he sends me. He plugged in a bunch of notes to this guitar generator thing. The fucking thing was good.
Yeah.
Like it had.
God,
a good sound to it, and I was kind of like, well, shit, now I'm out of that job too.
So I remember, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, I was listening to JRE podcast, and he had somebody on. They're talking about the advancements in AI and whatever, and how it was going to, the automation process with self-driving trucks and all this was going to eliminate so many jobs.
Yeah.
So what people needed to do was try to move into maybe a more artistic field, because AI could never replace the artistic quality of a human.
Right.
Well, here we are now.
Yeah.
And we're looking at this AI generated art, the music, it's and the scripting. The writing.
Yeah. That's the thing about it, is that you like to tell yourself, well, people can tell the difference, between something that comes from the heart and something that,
Good luck, hooker.
but really, have you met people?
We're all a bunch of basic bitches.
People buy shit all the time that is, in my humble opinion, straight ass garbage.
Yeah.
And it came out of a box, and even if they got a guy to sing on it, he didn't really sing. They auto-tuned it or whatever.
Right.
So
Britney Spears.
the thing you're hearing is all computer generated, and people, well, they don't buy it anymore. They stream it. You know.
Yeah. It's all free.
And it's part of that. It's part of that. Just a devaluation of music generally, and art has had the same thing. The internet.
So,
images. You can get an image online for nothing.
yeah, you can pay $10 and get 10 images if you want, but their hands are going to be all fucked up.
Yeah. Well,
have you ever seen AI art where the hands are just kind of like
Right.
there's like more fingers than there should be, or the fingers are twisted and like blending in with the coat pocket?
Yeah.
AI
I wish
art
I wish
doesn't
I could draw
understand
that
hands.
good. I wish I could draw that.
But the thing is, well, like you say though, that's up to this
I can
point.
teach you.
My
Right.
guess,
6
is
months from now, it'll probably get hands down.
somebody is probably going to be like, "Oh, well, let's work on the hands," and then they
Have
go,
y'all seen? In order to make AI art, you have to plug in like certain things.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
it does it.
So-
well, spaghetti apparently is a big problem for AI. Like,
Oh, really?
If it can't figure out fingers, it can't figure out noodles. That's all I'm saying.
There's still one frontier it can't tackle:
It
noodles.
can't deal with noodles.
Noodles
All
and
right.
phalanges.
The flying spaghetti monster is untouchable.
Okay, well, I mean,
We're gonna
that's,
go there.
that's
We're gonna go
generally
there,
true.
you know? Yeah.
As a ordained minister of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, I can tell you that it's true. But
Now, is there actually did you actually get ordained?
you can. So $25 gets you ordained. I got a certificate on my wall because
I want that in my life so bad.
Because a friend of mine was getting married and they wanted me to officiate it, but you have to be a priest. So I was
By a
like,
recognized religion.
yeah,
Right.
but you can recognized religion is real loose, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, because I'm also an ordained friar in the Church of Bacon. So
and he's really good at making bacon. I just want to let you know.
So
he makes great.
the state of Texas. So we did the wedding in Dallas, and somewhere. Well, in a file cabinet in the state of Texas is my signature as a representative of the Church of the
I'll
Flying
tell you
Spaghetti
right
Monster.
now, I believe the flying spaghetti monster thing, but if you had a wedding in Dallas, in Fort Worth, it's null and void.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's
Oh, yeah.
true. It's, different rules.
We
for different.
talk a lot of shit about Dallas on this show.
What happens in Dallas stays in Dallas.
It's a very confusing place. Like, there are parts of Dallas where I walk and I feel okay. I feel kind of safe. But then there's
Deep Ellum.
Deep Ellum, where we have to duck behind somebody's car to not get shot.
I mean, I guess I'm old enough to remember though that like it has been like that.
It's been like that forever.
Like I first started playing in Deep Ellum in like 92, 93. You could get rolled pretty quick.
But it's way worse now, right?
Well, there's just more people down there now.
Okay, yeah.
And more of them are shooting because these are the times we live. So, I mean, I was
we
playing.
don't really know why they're doing it, but they are.
Man, the last several times that I've played down there, I guess with the exception of that Twilight Lounge show, but
actually, there was a shooting over by the bomb factory.
Yeah.
After one of your Twilight.
like
shows.
right after I got out
Right
of
after
there,
it.
you're pop, 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 and it's
we're
just down the damn
we're just
street.
kind of standing like, what the fuck?
And then a few,
Why?
I guess it was a couple years before that, we had played at the Pecan Lodge, which is fantastic barbecue joint.
You got 10 viewers.
Nice.
It's a fantastic barbecue joint, and it's an outdoor type of thing, and people are bringing their kids and all this kind of stuff. And then pop, 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 down the street in the freaking, and her brother and her dad were in that parking lot when it was happening. They had to roll under a car, and
And like I got a call, and Dad's like, "They're shooting." I don't know. I'm like, just hide. I don't know.
I got a story I'm dying to tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
Do it.
So I got out
Keep
of.
whacking this thing.
I closed my business down in 2019, and I started selling roofs, and I was Uber driving. I had a few things going on.
Yeah.
So the Uber driving led me to Deep Ellum, and I needed to get a drink or something. I can't remember why I stopped. But there was a 7-Eleven or something just randomly
I know the one you're talking about,
in
yeah.
Deep Ellum. So I parked my car. This is middle of the day. I mean, like noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. And I walk into this place, and like as soon as I open the door, it's like Spidey sense. There's something wrong.
Yeah,
like the look on people's faces, something is not okay.
It's, yeah.
And a guy turns around, and he's holding a knife, and he is coming right at me.
Oh, shit.
And I process this as quickly and as best I can, and I just go, okay, here we go. And I load up on my back foot, and I wait for this guy, and I'm like, I'm not going to engage this guy, but I need to be ready, I guess.
Yeah.
And he comes, and I'm freaking the fuck out, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's showing on my face.
No.
And the guy comes out of the store, and he like almost executes a perfect facing move. He takes a left and just goes, and he's gone.
Oh,
But I mean, he was
yeah.
4 feet from me, coming straight at me with a knife. Everybody in the store was completely freaked out.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing. I mean,
And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I had to do something.
and it's not like that
And then
kind
I
of thing
didn't.
doesn't happen here, because I know I've seen it happen here, but it feels like it happens on the regular there. Now, I will say, there's other parts of Dallas besides Deep Ellum. Like Bishop Arts is really cool. I've played a lot of gigs in Uptown. But yeah, I'm always kind of ambivalent about Ellum, which sucks because there's a lot of great clubs there. I love playing Twilight Lounge down there. We're playing Adair's in a few weeks, and I love
Is it the
Adair's.
same folks that own Twilight here?
No,
well, it's the
different
same folks.
people.
Okay.
Well, it's the same folks that own it, but the booking people are different.
Yeah. Well, no, Jimmy doesn't own the one in Dallas.
Oh yeah, I guess
That's
true.
a different
They must
guy.
have split it
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
but yeah, but it's like it's a kind of a different vibe, but I like it. It's a comfy place.
I like Twilight because they don't charge a cover.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one thing.
that's
They don't
nice.
charge a cover, and which, for Ellum, back in the day, everything was always a cover.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And
Sure, it still is, right?
I think in a lot of places it is, but in some places they just want butts and seats since COVID, really.
yeah.
And yeah, it's weird. I have a strange relationship with Dallas. Like I worked there for when I was working for that bank. That's where I was downtown Dallas, and But even then, you will walk into places like right across from this nice bank building, and the bodega that was right across from it. You go in there, and they got those little gambling machines, and there's a huge bunch of it. And that convenience store had a bouncer. Only convenience store I've ever been into that had a bouncer, because apparently the guys who were playing the damn machines would just get upset and rowdy sometimes, and you have to throw them out.
Well, it brings a strange crowd. Those machines.
Well, especially like so you're downtown, you're in the middle of these lawyers and kind of fancy people, and then there's this fucking casino in the middle of it, with a bouncer, and it's just a strange place.
So I've just recently kind of honed in on this, because there's just down the street from the studio, there's a game room that just opened, and I've been seeing these things pop up all over the place.
Yep.
And I think there is a underground story to be told about these little environments.
Yeah, and it's the kind of story that you're kind of afraid to tell sometimes, because a lot of them are kind of unofficially run,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of...
So I was down in Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
This was 4, 5, 6 months ago. And they had those machines at one of these bars that we went to. We had a nice, cozy little Airbnb, and you could walk right up the street, and then there on the seawall is... do you need anything?
And she's stretching.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to be a bad host.
No.
All right. But they had... because they had these slot machines all the way around the room. And I got to talking to the bartender, and I'm like, what's the deal? Because, gambling, you can't do that in Texas.
Right.
So what's going on? Like, how does that work? Well, you get store credit. And I'm like, okay, so store credit? And he's like, well.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. We give store credit out to some folks, but we've got to pay cash to some because, they won't come back. So we do. We pay cash out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so how do you do that? He's like, you got to kind of move some stuff around.
Yep.
And
it
didn't give me the finer details, but it comes down to gambling. They are gambling in these facilities.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's... I'm one of those... I wouldn't care if they were, I
don't care either, but...
Because, casino, whatever. But
there's a story there.
But there's absolutely a story. Well, it's kind of the way Texas treats vice generally.
Yeah.
Because I was raised in Weatherford. We were dry up until 2008. No alcohol. And yet, all of the county line freaking beer joints and porno shops and whatever were cram-packed, full of people from that town.
Yeah.
Right? So you can talk all day long about, sin, it's bad for you, but then freaking Saturday night comes, where are you? You're at the fucking strip joint, on the county line. And so I would rather we just go ahead and go, let's just have things available.
Well, the thing that makes the most sense to me is the argument that, everybody from this side of Texas is going to Oklahoma to spend their money.
Of course.
At these places.
And who's making the money? It's the tribes are making money up there, and
which I got no problem with that.
No, but it's great.
But for Texas economy, why not keep the money here?
We're down here going, well, but it's sinful or whatever.
In Louisiana, that's not tribal stuff, right?
No, that's
no, it's all state ran.
No, and it's hilarious to me that Texas. It's the same with weed though. Like now we're surrounded. Colorado, New Mexico. Oklahoma beat us to medical. Right, Oklahoma.
We've got medical, right? Oh, here you go. I'm sorry.
We have very.
My bad.
We got CBD.
Yeah,
but we don't have THC.
Right. Oh no, I actually posted this in DFW normal because I figured this was going to come up. I'm hoping that one of you guys will call in because we would love to talk about legal weed and why it's important here. As somebody with severe back issues.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Why not?
But it is, it's one of those things where we just hold off. And It's coming eventually. I mean, because people
they
want it.
got to get over their stigma first.
Well, and it's we always talk about, everyone's always talking about the free market. The free market wants weed.
Obviously,
free market
if we're the free market, then yeah, we want weed. Come on.
I'm in a room with the intelligent people. I don't
Yeah.
belong here because I'm
no,
not the intelligent one. But
you
you
got
guys,
all this set up, so
Oh
I don't
no!
know.
I bought all of this. Like I didn't.
matter.
I didn't make a stick of anything you're looking at.
No, you built this.
you didn't
bro.
construct that?
No,
You
nope.
built
My soldering iron. I would. Have you seen that picture where the lady's like holding the soldering iron by the like heating element?
Oh, yeah.
What?
It's a stock photo that they used for a
Yeah.
bunch of dumb shit, and it's got the woman like holding the soldering iron by the heating element, like
Yeah,
with the lab glasses and the coat.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
me,
soldering
yeah.
iron, yeah.
Anyway,
What were you saying?
so my smart people question
Yes.
is it's more of a statement, I guess. The reason that they're holding off on legalization is not for any other reason than to use it as a bargaining chip in elections.
Yeah.
It's the
I'm
only
I'm sure that's
thing
probably-
that makes sense.
Well,
That's
I have a
good
secondary theory, which is that because what happened, for instance, in Colorado when they opened it up, the people who made the most money right off were small businesses.
yeah.
We don't do that in Texas. What we do is big money guys. And so I think the big money guys are making sure they have their shit lined
Oh,
up.
yeah, that's
so that
absolutely part of
when it goes through, they are ready to drive right on through.
But lobbyists and special interest groups, that comes into it. It's all
That's-
about the election cycles.
Yeah, I think the reasoning they give is sin and vice and whatnot.
Sure,
but
sure.
the real reason is that they want to make sure they're on top when it hits.
So I'm planning on loading up on marijuana stock before this next presidential run.
It'll
But do you
happen eventually.
think it'll change with this next presidential run?
I
Depending
really
on
do.
who we get in here.
It's hard to know.
I think
well, I
that
don't know that
the-
it even matters nationally. I think it matters I think it matters in.
Well, it
in Texas.
absolutely matters federally to the stockholders.
Yes.
we need the federal. We need the federal
make sure
system
I
to
have my toe
approve
in
it,
the
Sure.
water, yeah.
so that the banks here in the U.S.
Yeah. I
can-
mean, obviously.
yeah.
But it's like we're so man.
Everything's spring loaded. It's ready to go.
I know, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's so
Every state
ridiculous.
around us has legalized, except for us. We're just sitting here.
Well, Louisiana hasn't
clutching
yet,
our
but
little
that's because
pearls.
they're swamp people. But
Oh right, swamp people don't legalize weed.
but like if
but they just
But they
smoke it
it.
outside
They
the
fucking
B&B
smoke
we're
it.
staying at. Yeah.
if you ever been to New Orleans, they fucking smoke it. But yeah, it's one of those things. And I
Kids, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
well, don't do some drugs. Don't do like heroin. But you
Wait
can
till
do
you're
like,
26 when
The,
you
the
stop.
Fort Worth
growing.
Roots podcast would like to encourage you to never do drugs.
Right.
Or wait till you're 26.
The Fort Worth Roots podcast.
Art of Trista Studio says do whatever the hell you want. Just make sure you're old enough.
Yeah.
I wish I still did edits.
I ruined it.
Don't matter
That's
to me.
okay.
No, I'm messing with you.
It's
no,
okay.
I really, I don't know. I have a thing with, and I haven't been raised in the South. I'm used to people saying one thing and doing something different.
Right.
You know, it's a thing that happens around here.
I bet that goes the same in the North.
It actually, it does, yeah. Because I worked with some very
He would
devout Catholics up there that were doing some squirrely stuff on the weekends, you know. But
Have you watched this latest iteration of the Yellowstone bullshit?
you know,
with
I
Harrison
just
Ford?
haven't gotten into all that.
The
But
only reason I bring it up is it's depicting a large portion of 18. No,
18
no, it's the one with Harrison Ford.
1923?
Yeah, it's the one
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Harrison Ford, and it shows what we were doing to the natives with the Catholic Church during that time period, which I have not checked out, but I'm thinking that since they're putting this in the show, it's probably somewhat historically accurate.
it's pretty horrible, actually, yeah. Now, Canada recently had basically a Truth and Reconciliation Commission for that sort of thing, because they actually were hardcore back in the day about, like, removing the histories of these children, you know, and just completely indoctrinating them into, you know, Western culture. and to the point where people lost a lot of their traditions, and that's certainly happened in
real
the US.
quick for our listeners that don't know, like what's being depicted in this show is the Native American tribes are losing their children basically to re-education schools, like trying to turn them into westernized civilization citizens.
Right.
And it was brutal what they were depicting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the beatings, the rape, it was really terrible.
And in some cases, mass graves, because there were people who it didn't take.
No.
And
I mean,
so
I was actually kind of horrified to find out that mass grave, that whole thing was still happening during COVID. They were putting people in mass graves in New York.
Well, yeah, I mean that was a different, but
is that true?
It wasn't for that reason.
Oh yeah.
In some municipality where they were they didn't have the resources to bury everybody, and
were they eventually buried properly?
I don't know.
No, they're just in a big hole.
Surely that cannot be true.
That's true. That's true.
We'll
holy shit.
We will.
Okay. Anyway, let's find the subjects. Let's talk about something.
The whole thing about it is that. We forget sometimes that, in the modern age, we think about America as kind of being a fixed thing, like we've been here. But for the folks who were coming in here, they really saw it as first of all, a religious mission, to convert, people, but also as kind of a survival thing. Of kind of like you come into these areas that have been owned and operated by a particular culture for 1,000 years or something like that, and to try to make a place like that into your own place, you kind of have to have a little bit of a scorched earth mindset of like, well, we got to wipe it all clean, and we either just kill everybody or we try to make them into us. And I say that as somebody who had 2 Cherokee great-grandmothers who were purchased, from Oklahoma, because they wanted a wife, and so you just go up and get one. And they
on the cheap.
And they gave them new names, and so that's part of my family history is that. But at the time, they really didn't think of it as being a problem, because they were trying to. Terraform it essentially, and
turn it into the image of what they want.
Yeah, and it's funny how there's remnants of that now. Because you just go to buy these houses that have this, that they spend all this water to get this lush St. Augustine grass or whatever that doesn't grow well here.
No, not native.
And it's because their idea of what a yard should look like comes from further east.
I'm proud to say that the grass here at the studio is 100%.
I saw that.
What grows here?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I always have gone by my.
That shit grows fast.
Yeah, I've always gone by my dad's dictum, which is just I mow what comes up.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say, Beth Odette says I vaped weed when you guys were talking about it. LOL.
Well, that's because she's in New York.
She's in New
Shout
York.
out to Beth.
You fucking rock, Beth.
Thanks for watching the show.
Yeah. She says she's actually my fiddle player. She was in my band for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. When's she coming back down to town?
Well, she's living up there right now with her family. But
when's she gonna come play fiddle in Fort Worth?
At some point, I'll drag her back down.
Come on, Beth.
I know. So here's a weird thing that we're doing. So I play shows in Second Life in the virtual world. So
explain that to our listeners.
All right. So.
What is Second Life?
So imagine The Sims, basically, but you have a little dude, and instead of trying to make them survive, they can just go do whatever they want to do. And one of the things they can do is go to a venue and hear a performer, one of which is me. I turn on my mic in my studio, and I play, and whoever's in the room picks up the signal, and my little dude plays his little guitar.
Okay, I want to say it my way now.
Yeah.
So you're on the internet, and you log into this website, and you have a character.
Right.
It's you. It's your avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And you can literally walk around this entire world.
Yep.
And you can walk into this bar that Matthew's playing at.
Yep.
You can walk into it with your character, and as you're approaching the establishment, the music starts to grow in intensity, and then once you get indoors, you have the same audio levels that you would have, at like a real venue.
And you can chat, and instead of talking to people verbally. You're chatting to them via text in the room space, and somewhere nearby, someone has a tentacle porn machine or something. Like it.
And you just go through the game ignoring the fact that the tentacle porn machine.
Yeah, there's
It's
a
fun.
pretty robust Second Life music community. That's actually where I met Beth, and then but every so often we descend upon a town and have a jam, and so the next one is going to be in October in Oklahoma City, and I think she's coming down for that one.
So it's going to be all the Second Life people
All the
showing
Second
up
Life-
in
so
the
it's not-
physical world.
Yeah, all in the same space. We get to find out who is or is not actually a hot chick.
Or in Trista's case, aren't you a...
She has wings.
I have
You-
wings.
you've
I
got-
got like demon wings.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
usually change them to like dark angel wings just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Or fairy wings.
So I created an account. I went and I saw
know
you
came
play.
to the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was about the time life got a little choppy, and that
That happens.
that situation. Anyway,
Yeah, but
okay.
I need to
So-
get back into that.
It
I
was
need to see
weird
you play.
because
Fun.
we met. So I knew of her in Second Life, but then we met at a jam in Dallas in 2009, and I was like, "Oh, where do you live?" She goes, "I live in Dallas." Like, "Oh, I live in Dallas," and so we're like, "Cool." So we ended up. She was in a band called Fish Fry Bingo. I had the Matthew Show, and so we decided we were going to play in each other's bands. And so she played in the Matthew Show, I played in Fish Fry Bingo, and that
Fish fry.
yeah. Hey man, we were big for a while.
Nice.
We were like the craft beer band of Texas for a while because that was at the time that all these breweries were popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
And we played the ribbon cuttings for so many breweries all over. We played the
what year?
2010, 2000.
That's about
11.
right. Yeah.
And so we were like the craft beer band of Texas for about 2-3 years there. And
People like new people to the area
Yeah.
don't understand that Fort Worth and like Texas as a whole. When you went to a place that served beer,
Yeah.
you got Coors Light,
Yep.
Coors, Budweiser, Bud Light.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe did Keystone come on draft?
yeah, you'd occasionally get that, but
Anyway,
when you said beer,
you had
that's just
few
what you got.
options. Yeah,
Very
yeah,
little.
yeah.
And so roundabout.
Shiner.
Right, yeah, Shiner's about as local as it got. Shiner
Yeah.
or RAR. But about 2010, 11, you get places like Revolver and Petacolis and all these places. And there's two things that happened with that. One was that people got excited because they could drink something other than Michelob.
Right.
But number two, bands figured out that they could get paid better at the breweries than they could at the clubs.
Right.
And so all these musicians started, going to play at these breweries, and suddenly the breweries are getting good crowds, and they're, Revolver, when we played the ribbon cutting for Revolver, and it was a little, tin building, and that thing is a massive operation now. But part
Yeah.
of that was because they had shows out there, and people would, and it was an event to just kind of hang out and see music and drink Blood and Honey or whatever. So, that was a whole movement back then, and we were square in the middle of it. And I just kind of blundered into that, thanks to Beth. But it's crazy now because we think of it. There's a freaking microbrewery on every corner now, but back then, that was a big deal.
Yeah. So for me, during that same time period, I left Texas. I was in Virginia for about 6 months doing some Army training. And while I was there, Trista sent us something from NPR. Anyway, there were all these craft beers, and I thought it was Mecca. It was beautiful. All these different beers you could get.
Oh yeah. Well,
And then I came back to Texas, and it was starting to kind of rev up. And the first one I found was a brewery out of like North Dallas. I think it was actually Frisco.
probably
Let's see if you guess it.
because I know I played
was
Tups. Was it Tups?
No, this was a very small German brewery.
Wasn't Petacolis, was it?
Nope.
No, not.
It's called Franconia.
Okay, Franco. We've played Franconia,
And I don't know if they're still there or not, but man,
I don't know if they're still there.
loved their beer. It was so good.
Yeah, we
and
played Franconia.
they were big on no artificial anything.
Yeah.
Like it was all about temperatures and the hops.
Yeah.
And don't get me lying to you, but they didn't put any kind of additives in it.
Right.
And I thought that was beautiful.
And
it tasted great.
And you think about it, You had.
I don't know what's in the shit I
from
drink
the
now.
end, from the end of from the end of Prohibition.
That one?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me show the camera. Can I show the camera?
Yeah.
Franconia is the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
If y'all can even hear us talking, I'll show that to the other camera. Franconia. I love that
Just watching
stuff.
us.
Yeah, not
No.
a sponsor.
What do you think about
No,
it from the end of Prohibition in the 30s to 2010?
Yeah.
What were people drinking?
Whiskey,
You know,
moonshine.
they
the
were-
hard
you
shit.
know,
Not beer.
but
There's no
when
room
they
for
did
that.
start drinking beer,
Takes too much
What
time.
was it? It was
It's empty.
they had these things like Budweiser and whatnot. They were like my dad's generation. They drank. He drank Coors.
Yeah.
I mean that was
Piss
just.
water.
And
Sad.
the first time I remember seeing.
Some of our listeners really like that stuff.
I'm sorry. You should
I am
drink
drinking
something
White Claw,
else that tastes better. I don't know what to tell you.
But
White Claw.
Well, it was really interesting because so Tony, our
Yingling.
banjo player, when we would be in bars that were not breweries, and you'd see somebody drinking like a Bud Light or whatever, like he would like, let me show you something that's better than that, and like would evangelize the
Yeah.
if they had a Velvet Hammer or whatever behind them, and I think there was kind of you had to bring some people along on that. Because the first time I remember seeing it was in Colorado in the 90s. There were some craft breweries that were popping up, but it was real regional. Like they never really got outside of that. But when Texas got it, man, it just went nuts, and it almost became a cliche, in the past, 5-6 years, because everybody and their dog was opening a damn microbrewery,
Right.
And I have friends who do the home brewing thing, just to kind of see if they can do
Yeah.
it, and it's harder than it sounds.
So it's a fun hobby.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt
my
anybody.
Yeah.
brother actually wants to start up a little microbrew
Yeah,
thing
I
in
mean-
the garage, and I'm like, where?
Well, I mean,
Where are we gonna do
it was
that?
the kind of thing that Benedictine monks did in the Middle
Yeah.
Ages. They just,
And it's
Get
a cool way to brew alcohol.
If you can make bread from scratch, you can make your own beer.
you may beer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Have you tried it?
I have friends that made. Well, no, let me take that back. I've got friends that made their own whiskey
Oh, okay.
that came out actually really damn good.
How long did that take?
whiskey takes longer.
Man, it was a process. And he showed me the whole thing, and he tried to make it sound like it was easy as hell, but he's walking me through the steps, and I'm like, how much time do you spend on this? But it
Well, and if you
really full-time hobby.
and the consequences of getting it wrong with hard liquor are things like blindness. So
Oh yeah, that's something you don't want to risk.
So on my first deployment, there was actually like, oh, we got a caller.
who
Oh,
dat?
damn. Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
we can let that deployment story go.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hello, first-time caller, long-time listener. You're on the Fort Worth Roots podcast. Who is this?
Jesse Richie, what's going on?
Hey, man, what's up, dude?
It's a burning sensation.
Hi.
Just one of them, just one burning
Oh, okay.
sensation. I just heard
not
y'all
all
talking
of them?
about booze. Figured I'd call them. No,
Yeah.
Yeah, do tell.
How is the audio quality on the Facebook thing? Is it working at all?
yeah, it's working really well. Sounds
Okay,
really
cool,
good.
cool. All right.
I wouldn't have called in otherwise because I wouldn't have understood what y'all were saying.
All right. Well,
fantastic.
currently, no one can hear a damn word you're saying. So,
Except
No one
us.
can hear what I'm saying.
No.
Oh,
We can,
No.
but the
Not
people
on the
on
live
camera
stream.
cannot.
They'll hear it on the podcast.
So if you want to say some offensive
Oh,
shit,
that's-
you can go ahead and do that.
no, don't you say.
no, I
sorry.
saved that for when I'm in person with Andrew,
Oh, okay.
so that he has to have a disclaimer on it.
He really does. He wrecks the shit out of every episode he's
You know, you say that now, but the thing is, you're always the one that instigates it, and I'll say a little something to help, just like kind of correct it, and then it goes off the rails. So it's really your fault.
Ooh.
No, I'll accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an
Okay.
instigator. Yeah,
That's honest
I do that.
criticism.
What's up, brother? What are you doing tonight?
No, not much. Just hanging out. Just got done grocery shopping on a Friday night because that's how cool I am.
You got pizza, didn't you?
I did not.
Oh,
No, I did
really?
not.
You didn't get pizza? How do you go to the
No.
store and not get pizza, man?
This is the man that
We had-
knows preservative-filled foods.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So-
And
I forgive you.
it's all good. We had pho tonight.
Oh, well, hey, that's nothing wrong with
Pho's
that.
good? Pho's one of my favorites, yeah.
I do like some pho. So
It's been a while. Go ahead.
No, I was saying you called in with thoughts on booze. Do you have thoughts on booze?
Yes, it's great. Thank you. Good night.
Beautiful.
Are you mad at me for hating on Coors?
No. Coors Light deserves all the hate it can get.
Okay.
Now, I will drink a Coors.
Okay.
I will drink a Coors Banquet every once in a while.
Oh, the
Amen.
Banquet. Yes.
Yeah, I like it. That's a perfect light beer.
But to me, that's the good stuff in terms of cheap stuff. Now that we have Fort Worth made Yingling, though, that's been my go-to.
Wait, they're making it here now?
What?
Yeah, they've been making it here. That's why we have it here.
We got Yingling in the fridge right now.
I thought they were importing it.
No, they imported the recipe.
Oh, is it down?
Made it.
Is that down on 35? Is that where they're making it?
Yep, sure is.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Going towards Burleson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's south on 35. That's where they're making
okay,
it.
that
And
makes a
they're
lot of
making
sense
the
then.
variant.
Now, do they have a Yingling tap room?
That I don't think so, because it's made in the big master
Yeah.
brewery where they
that's
brew Miller Lite and all that. I agree, but
Put it in there with the
can't
butt
have it
parts
all.
and whatnot. Yeah.
I bet you there's people that appreciate that smell, that odor that you get when you pass that Coors facility.
you know
but
what's funny?
I don't like it.
'Cause
Can
it
we
used
do
to
something
be-
about that?
The Mrs. Baird's used to be there too, and so you would drive past and you would get the yeasty smell of the bread and the yeasty smell of the beer coming across the freeway at the same time, and you almost kind of got an infection going past there. Yeah,
I think you could account for 25% of the incidents of diabetes in Fort Worth
Yes.
on that particular
yeah,
That was
section
the
of
wrong
35.
absolutely.
Walter Brimley is not pleased.
Yeah.
It's probably what kept those ads on for so long.
I'm
Yeah.
Walter Brimley, and I get all my diabetes testing supplies
Did you
from
know-
Liberty Medical.
Yes, Wilford. Yeah, but his,
Diabetes.
What did I say?
You said Walter, but it's,
Yeah.
you're thinking of Walter Matthau.
Yeah, right.
Did you know? Did you know about the Wilford Brimley line?
What?
So the age that Wilford Brimley was when he was in Cocoon. You remember the movie
Yep,
Cocoon?
yep. It's a classic.
When you cross that line, so Paul Rudd, for instance, recently crossed the Wilford Brimley line. He is now as old as Wilford Brimley was. So
That's
it's
not
kind
even
of
fair.
so it's kind of a
age is
yardstick
that?
that you can use. It's
So
51.
rude.
51?
Yeah.
Oh,
Paul Rudd's
dude.
like 20
I can't
years older
fucking
than me, and I look older than Paul Rudd.
He looks amazing. He must go
Yeah.
through moisturizer like
I'm sure it's oil of
No,
Olay all the
he's-
time. Yeah.
He's got blood,
Facebook
boys.
just restricted
Yeah.
my account for sharing
He's
too
ca-
many times.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's okay. I shared it with Franconia.
Can we all have a moment of silence? Trista went the full
Right.
measure tonight.
pray for me?
She got kicked off.
Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and
Got
prayers.
kicked off of Facebook because she posted so much for the show tonight. So if
Yeah.
you people don't call in,
Call in.
You
It's okay.
You go
out
down-
of respect for Trista, you call us 817-988-1292.
Make
It's on my hand because I ain't gonna memorize.
Make a
it.
donation.
Make it
I'm going to get off of here because I got to go put some kids to bed.
All right,
That's
okay.
not a metaphor.
Hey,
All
good to talk to you.
tuck the buns
It's
in.
good to talk to you. Matt, when's the next time you play it, man?
Okay. See you later.
That's totally unnecessary. I like it.
I like the
You're like, this
soundtrack.
music. Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's the kind of energy that I want when I make a phone call.
Yeah.
You know.
I am restricted for 15 hours now. I did it.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome.
So when I'm posting stuff, I'm actually cognizant of that because I have in the past tried to promote so much that Facebook's like, "Hey, bitch,
Yeah, they'll,
Well-
they'll
time
slow you
out,
down.
time out."
Well, mid pandemic, when everybody was live
It
streaming,
used to be 30 days, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 15 hours this time.
That's
so
beautiful.
I just need to sleep for a really long time. No.
Yeah. That won't happen.
It's not going to happen. 15 hours from now, I'm going to be awake going, shit, I should add something to this. And Matt's going to wander down in his robe and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're a robe man, eh?
I like
yes.
a robe. I like a good robe.
Yeah.
Especially, I got one that's made out of like towel cloth. so it doubles as a towel. So like
Just wipe yourself
you
on
just
it.
And
wipe everything right on there.
and I got him a Darth Vader robe.
That's
with
right. It's got a hood on it.
so he can
I
just.
don't know if I like that. That's kind of scary.
So I like to. Well,
You're a big dude. I don't see you walking around.
I terrify
in
her
dark
mother.
clothes.
I terrify her mother all the time when I'm over there because
Just round the corner, and she's like, "Ah!"
I move very stealthily, and so I'll come around the corner with my hood on.
Why are you walking stealthily around her mother?
I don't
What's
mean
this?
to.
What are you
I
doing?
don't mean to. It's just the way I walk.
You're a Sith Lord.
It's
Like-
because I was in marching band in high school, and we had to walk real, smoothly.
No,
Okay.
like she'll come out of her office, and he'll be like, "I gotta go to the bathroom," because the bathroom is
Right.
right there.
If I don't
And-
say that, I'll just come around the corner in my
Yeah.
hood.
Like you
And-
don't want to announce it. I have to go to the restroom. Like you just kind of go, right?
And suddenly
she's
her heart
kind
just
of-
goes,
And she's just like, "Oh," I'm like,
I'm pretty good at scaring people, though. I've done that for years. I've just kind of... People have turned around and gone, oh, shit, like they didn't hear me coming. And so I don't know what that is.
There is a small bit of joy in that. And so I work construction, and there's loud equipment around all the time. So I'll just walk right up on someone's heels, and I'll just stand there. And I'll wait. And then when they turn around, obviously,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's fantastic.
Nothing. Just waiting for you to do that.
I'm trying to
Just
think
waiting.
back if you've ever done that to me at like a show. Can't remember.
No.
Can't remember. I don't think
Who,
so.
me?
Yeah, I don't.
No,
think so.
I wouldn't do it to you. I'd just do it to
No.
the assholes I work with.
I do like to mess with people, though. I was just remembering when I worked in the securities office in New York years ago, I bought a big old bag of those little green army men, and every day I would put a new one somewhere in the office. And
leave the one from before.
Yeah, I would just leave
so
it.
You're assembling a whole
I would
battalion.
come in. I came in before anybody else, so I would put it down, and then I'd just go about my business. And it took about a week till people kind of started going, "What the hell are you? Are these things? Is there more of them than there were yesterday?" And so like a month, this went by, and I kept putting more and more of them out. And the people, there was this one girl who just started freaking the fuck out. She's like, "Who is doing this?" And she's interrogating me and everybody else. And I'm like, "I don't know, some weird person's putting shit out there." And finally, she just accused this guy that sat next to me. She's like, "You're the one who did it." And you're freaking me out with this stuff. It's and I could not contain myself. I started laughing.
That's
so
when you.
hard.
That's when you hold up the bag. Of the rest of the army men and go, "It's me."
Yeah. So,
Okay, so now you've told that story. Now you have to tell the other one.
what, do I have another one?
Oh, you have many. The gay porn playing cards.
Oh, that was
You have to-
fun.
you have to tell them that.
What is happening to this show?
That wasn't even me. So Donnie Blair. He doesn't mind me outing him. He's the current bassist.
Sorry,
Hi,
Donnie.
Donnie.
He's the current bassist for the Toadies. At the time, he was the
Sorry.
bassist for Hagfish. And
All right. Well, now that
Anyway.
I'm banned, give me your phone. I need to.
no. But
He's like, "Don't get me banned,
don't get me banned for the
motherfucker."
fucking thing.
I'm gonna send it to Donnie.
Anyway, so him and this guy Chris Brody, who we worked together, and they were always picking on each other it's out of fun. And so Brody would keep, Donnie would keep sabotaging Brody's computer one way or the other.
Yeah.
And so Brody finally got tired of it, and so he bought a pack of these gay porn playing cards, naked dudes. And so there's 52, cards in there, and he found 52 places in Donnie's desk area to hide these things.
That's impressive.
So
That's impressive.
the first day, it's funny. The second day, it's even funnier because he keeps finding them and then weeks, he's opening a folder and
Because this is a 5-day business week, right? So this is going on for
this is
months.
going on for a long time, and every time he would find a new one, he would just, "God damn it, Brody!" And so it was one of the best office prank revenge schemes I ever saw in my life, because it never stopped being funny. It was always just as funny as it had been the first time. Every time he would come up on one, so
I wish I could remember. There was always pranks going on when I worked at the hangar on the base over here at Carswell.
No, I'm sure.
And one day somebody filled my toolbox with something. Oh, okay. I think it was cotton balls.
Oh, okay.
And I'll go ahead and say this on the record. Just why not? I'm afraid of cotton balls.
What?
You're afraid of cotton balls?
Oh, okay.
That's weird.
One of my best friends in the whole world is scared of forks, so I'm just going to lump you into that category and never
That's
bring
fine.
you a cotton ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there like a childhood trauma that's linked to?
I
or is
have
it-
no idea what started this. First time I noticed it, I was with my sister at Drug Emporium in Abilene, Texas. My dad was the general manager, and we were left to our own in the back to like play around while Dad went out there and did whatever GMs do. And this box was full of those little packing
peanuts.
Yeah. And I started kind of freaking out. I couldn't touch them. They kind of weirded me out.
So you can't do
That's
packing
interesting.
peanuts. You can't do cotton.
No, I'm
balls.
okay with the packing peanuts now.
It
but
is
the
interesting.
Fucking cotton balls.
Sometimes is it a texture thing or is
It
it
is a texture thing.
See, because my brother has
I can't
that.
handle it.
He has that with pumpkin pie. So if you touch a piece of pumpkin pie around him, his gag reflex
Is that
activates.
why he was glaring at
Wow.
me that one time? at
Yes, because you were
Thanksgiving?
eating pumpkin
I
pie.
was just like, this is really good, and he was just like, and I was like, is your brother okay?
So there is a texture thing that people have sometimes with certain. It's kind of like the nails on the chalkboard thing.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah, I can't fucking handle that either.
Yeah. Well, that's reasonable. You know.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah, well,
you'll discredit my cotton ball thing, but okay.
But the cotton balls, I can kind of see that, I guess, because
I don't know what my deal is, but like you know, when you open it's not always like this anymore. Sometimes they have the little cylinder-like things now that absorb moisture, but they used to always pack the pill bottles with cotton balls.
Right.
Somebody else is gonna have to take care of that shit.
Oh, well,
I cannot get that out.
You have two
get that.
little
I can't do
containers
it.
at your apartment with cotton in them for reasons.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just, it's
I don't know why I thought of that, but they're there. So
good. Thank you. Don't.
I look at
Well, this
him.
is why I don't bring him over to my house because he's going to
Right,
open the
that's the
thing.
whole
and
reason.
We're gonna
freak
put
out.
those away before you
That's
come
the
over.
whole
and not
reason
take
I've
them
never
out.
been invited over. Right?
I don't.
there.
I don't
Just
invite
the
anybody
two
over
of
my
them.
house.
No.
It's basically. It's like.
It's
If
this
this
room,
were an apartment.
Yeah.
Yes, this is my house.
and then there's like a bedroom.
So, the reason I didn't get an apartment, I was looking around, and not too long ago, and right there in what they're calling now the River District, which
that's funny to me. That
eat
used
my
to be
ass.
trailer parks.
I've been here long enough to.
Yeah.
That's
His
what it is to
grandma
me
lived
too.
up the road
Right.
from you.
The river, the River District. It's
Yeah.
shit. Anyway, it's a lot nicer now.
It is.
I'll give them that.
So they got salsa limon. I'm cool.
Yeah. There's salsa limon, sure, but they're charging.
The rent. I can't even imagine.
4,
what the
5,
rent
6 months ago, they were charging $1,500 plus
is. Hell no.
for a studio about the size of this room we're in right now.
No.
That's insane.
And I'm like,
that's insane.
I can't, like, morally, I
Well,
cannot pay you.
Fort
for
Worth
that.
is coming very close to pricing me out.
It's so stupid.
It's ridiculous. Because I remember, so I came back from New York in 2006 and was able to get a 1-bedroom apartment in Euless for $525.
Yeah.
Decent, not great, okay. And then like the step up from that was getting a 2-bedroom like house, a rent house.
Yeah.
For like $700.
Yeah.
And this was not that long ago. This was 15 years ago.
You're right.
And there's nothing even close to that now. Like to get a 1-bedroom apartment, or like you said, a studio. It's not even a 1-bedroom.
No, it's
they
a
are
straight shot.
taking-
It's just
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
And
With a sink.
And that's after, and it was so funny because I had just moved back from freaking New York City where I had paid $1,000 a month for a room.
Yeah.
Then shared the bathroom with the guy down the hall.
So
And then now we're here. We're already
Right.
it's really weird. So if my mom and I, pre-pandemic, were looking for a shop. We were going to go like move into a house, buy it, whatever we needed to do.
Yeah.
Open up a shop. Well, as we're searching, pre-pandemic, we found one house. We bid on it, and it had like 20 bids. So we didn't get it. We're
Right.
like, okay, well, maybe we dodged a bullet. I don't know. Shutdown hits, whatever. Midway through shutdown, I remember this. I pulled open Zillow, and I was just kind of flipping through, and I'm like, why are they literally trying to sell us crack houses for like rent $1,500 for a little one-room thing that you have to fix up? They don't fix it up. You have to fix it up.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
I'm just like,
ridiculous
what
at this
the
point.
fuck? It's madness. If you pull up in Zillow, you're gonna get mad. You're
So
gonna get real
I'm
mad.
saving up for a travel trailer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
That's my
seriously,
solution.
though,
I don't know.
seriously,
What
though.
else are you going to do?
A freaking
I have
motorhome.
so many friends who are doing the van life, you
Yeah.
know, and I kind of don't know what other choice we have up, you know,
I
except
have a
for.
friend who moved to Thailand because she was just like, no, though. Like, I'm done here.
But I know people who
Yep.
literally live in a van down by the river. You know,
Yeah.
because
Where's that government cheese?
Well, where was it where they burned it down? There was a warehouse that had too much government cheese and it was driving the price of cheese up. This was years ago, and so they actually destroyed the cheese to bring the price of cheese back up.
They
This
could
was
have just
back in
had a cheese party. That breaks my heart.
I can't think of any. I mean, burn
Yeah.
Bibles all you want,
Yeah,
but we're-
not cheese, not the curd. Don't
tear
burn-
the libraries apart,
Oh my god.
but the
but
cheese,
not
man.
the cheese.
Yeah,
You could have had like tacos and the cheese could have been a topping. What are you doing?
I don't
Could
know.
have made a taco completely out of cheese.
You could have pulled a Taco Bell.
That's a quesadilla, basically.
That is a
That is a
quesadilla.
case.
That's all my kid would eat for years. Was just like a tortilla, cheese, tortilla. Bam. That's the whole thing.
So you've proven that.
Rachel.
I'm a
corrects me.
terrible parent. Yeah.
No. He's.
I was
he's
going to say a
great
human
dad.
can live off of quesadillas for years.
and even grow. Yeah.
And grow.
Get
You
bigger.
can survive on peanut butter for 12 days.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
What?
Yeah, 12 days.
Why? Why can't you live longer on peanut butter?
Because your body starts to starve from
Can't-
lack of nutrients.
Well, can't you go without food for 30 days?
That's I
Like,
don't think
I
so.
think it might
how
depend
long
on
did
what kind of
Lane
shape you're in.
Staley live?
Because it's like it's
oh,
like
God.
it's,
Yeah, but he had like 800 pounds of heroin in him.
I
though.
know, but
it's
he
like the
wasn't
rule
eating
of three,
food.
though. Like you can go 3 minutes without oxygen.
Yeah.
You can go 3 days without water,
Right.
and you can go 30 days without food. I thought
Can
that
you go 30 days without food? Because
I
I thought
think so.
you could only survive like 12 days total. Did you ever read the book Holes?
You ever met a guy named Gandhi?
No.
Didn't
Yeah,
Gandhi
because
do
fasting.
Did Gandhi do it?
Well, fasting is a thing.
so.
I mean, people, but while you're fasting, of course, you are drinking things.
We're
I don't
googling
know.
it.
Yeah,
yep, Google it.
I'm
I want to
working
know.
on it.
I want to know.
Because I don't know.
Talk about your next show.
I have. So I'm playing at Lockwood Distill. Well, by the time this airs, it'll be over.
All right, the one after that.
One after that's Puke the Destroyer at Lola's, April 8th, 6 o'clock.
Which I will have art set up at.
The next Matthew Show
At the Psychedelic
after
Panther
that
Festival.
is at the Flying Saucer downtown Fort Worth.
By the way, it was the
following
first
Saturday.
search result.
What
Actually,
What was
say?
it?
It's
Okay.
listening
What's the
to us.
what's the fact?
As a result of discontinuing eating, patients can
Okay.
die in as early as a few days. That's true.
Okay.
Which seems kind of weird.
Hmm.
It doesn't sound accurate. I've gone.
How long
at
is a
least-
few?
I've gone at least a couple of days without food. For most people, this period without food usually like. What am I reading? 10 days.
You're reading a random Google.
All right, how long
answer.
can you go without eating? Let's try something else.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Between 1 and 2 months.
Really?
Really?
So
Okay.
it probably varies on the individual.
I would think so.
Right. You know,
Okay.
fat stores and whatnot.
Right.
In general, it is likely that a person could survive between 1 and 2 months without food.
Okay.
Folks, this is not a medical podcast.
No,
We're
no,
also
no, not at all.
not dietitians. Please
No.
do not.
Yeah.
All right, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, don't sue me. As many different factors influence the length of time that the body can last without food, this period will vary among individuals.
Sure.
So, yeah, no, I've always heard, like, you could go a month without food. Fuck trying that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do.
I like to eat.
I do have friends who do the fasting thing, but again, there's a set time period.
Yeah, I do 18-hour fasts.
Yeah, you
and
can do
that's
that.
that's when I'm like on my shit,
Hmm.
and that's when I feel my best too. Eat
Really?
once a day, and you give yourself like a small window to eat.
I
Right.
get a headache.
I've heard that.
I have blood
I've heard
sugar.
that.
I
from
think
I
you
have
got the
blood sugar.
you got the hypoglycemia though.
Well, it's
That's-
not like a diagnosis. It's something
Yeah,
that
but
runs in the
it's
family, and
Anecdotally, though, like if you don't eat on a regular basis, you're going to pass out.
That's right. I forgot you've seen that happen to me.
Our first date, she hadn't eaten, and we show up to this place, and they're taking forever to bring the food out, and I see her over across the table, And she's just fading and fading and fading. I'm like, are you okay?
I'm like eating chips, and the chips are just not. They're not.
Yeah, they're not doing it. She's like, I really need food, or I think I'm gonna pass out.
And you're like,
so I'm
in love.
Yeah, and
this is this is me for life.
I was mostly just like, I don't want her to die right now. That's not cool. So I
wouldn't die. I would just.
She did not put this on her POF profile. I'm looking through it right now. It says nothing about this.
He found me at Tarrant County College.
I stalked her.
I rounded the corner wearing buckled boots and a cat outfit because it was Halloween. So
that was it.
That's all you really need.
He was like, that one though.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, no, the passing out thing is real, and I have a bit of that, but she's got a hardcore case of it.
I've never passed out from anything other than massive alcohol poisoning.
Oh well,
Jesus.
that's a fun way to do it too.
Fun.
You know? And actually, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, that's the one way. Well, not the one way, but that is one thing I've never really done. I've never blackout drunked myself.
Really?
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where
got close.
I was like, if I don't lay down right now.
Well, when we shut this show down tonight, we're going to McFly's.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that's
by Uber.
Yeah.
You can pick your
now,
cards
that doesn't
up at
mean,
the studio
That doesn't mean
tomorrow.
that I haven't gotten piss-ass drunk for, because I absolutely have.
No, we're getting blackout. We're going to do it.
Well, because I have...
If we go to McFly's, may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Just a helpful one.
Okay.
Don't take the rumple shots.
No rumple
Kate.
shots.
Even if the bartender is super cute and just wants you to take rumple shots.
All the bartenders at that place are cute.
Okay, I know, but that's the danger here. Don't take... I did a whole illustration
Shout out to
about
Josh.
Well, what's the funny... So, I guess she doesn't work there anymore, but when we were there
What was
one
her
night...
name?
I
She
can't
was
remember
funny.
what her name was. But she was like, every time somebody would come up to the bar, she would go, "You want a rumple shot?" And she'd be like, "I wasn't going to order that, but okay." And so she's giving everybody these rumple shots.
Rumples are dangerous.
And
She's like, "So what do you want?" And I was like, "I think I want like a whiskey on the rocks." And she goes, "You want rumple?" And I was just like, "No." She goes, "You want to do a shot?" And I'm over here going,
what
is
was
it
this
gonna?
lady's problem?
What is it gonna be? And sure enough, she produced like 3 rumple shots. And my friend who was with me goes, "I didn't order that." And so the bartender was like, "Well, you should take the shot." And so I took my shot. And then not realizing the effects of rumple, I took hers.
She's just pouring these like, here you go.
Yeah. And it was funny
What?
because so everyone in the whole joint is just trash because she's just pouring these things like crazy. So
But responsibly.
very responsibly,
Sure.
Yes.
Well, we the next day, of course, we wake up and we're like, "Oh, Jesus," and
we got McFly.
and I was texting the guy who had booked me, because I had played a show there earlier, and I was texting the guy that booked me. It's like, God, that girl who was giving out the promo shot. He goes, "Yeah, she's fired."
She is fired. Lol, I think was the proper.
Damn.
Because she was just like, wee. And everybody had consequences.
We've got standards over there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good.
This was years ago.
It was funny.
It wasn't too long ago. It's only been open since 2020.
Yeah, that's probably when I played
It was shortly after it opened.
It is
when
funny
happened,
because that road that it's on,
Meandering.
that's the back entrance to the base over
and
there.
it is in
East Gate,
meandering.
yep.
It does meander.
So my father...
It's a busted bitch. It's been like that for a decade.
Oh, yeah.
The road, not the bar. The bar is fantastic.
No, the bar.
Go to
Well,
McFly's.
yes.
My father was there from, I think, 1964 to 68, and he will tell you some stories about that gate, because that was the gate you come back in if you are late back to the base, after you get your leave or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was back late frequently.
You should have his mom
But
and dad on
there-
this show. It
But
would be hilarious.
There was always just one dude at the gate. This is a SAC base, mind you. They have nuclear weapons at this fucking thing in the 60s, right? And
at JRB Carswell?
It was Carswell, yeah.
No
back then.
shit.
Yeah, it was a SAC B-52
Okay, yeah.
fucking
Yeah, because they still have the bunkers. Okay.
right. And so, but there was one dude, at the gate, in the middle of the night, and half the time he was sleeping. And so Dad figured out
nuke base.
Dad figured out that if he went through the gate fast enough, they wouldn't catch his plates and they wouldn't know who it was that had gone through the gates. So he would, on the regular, go out and get piss ass drunk.
Thank God the Koreans never
and go
figured
through
it out.
that. Yeah, I know, right? You know, he would go through that gate at like he was like, I think I went through there 100 miles an hour one time. You know, and
do you know how violently that would end if you did that now?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Have you
not
seen?
be good.
I don't know. Last time you've been through there, but
It's
they
been
have
a
these
long time.
hydraulic pistons.
Yeah, they don't
my
do that
God.
anymore.
And-
Or
yeah.
they don't have like the chain link, you know, fence with a guy.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a little more serious these days.
But they installed that stuff probably back in like 2011 or 12, and they've got these hydraulic rams that shoot out of the pavement.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you're not get.
No,
if you get
it's
past
bad.
the guard,
Yeah.
now the trouble starts.
Okay.
and I
Like
don't.
it's probably what they should have had back then.
Sounds like it. Jesus.
Yeah. So it was.
Oh my God.
It was rough. My father was a little bit of a rebel at that base because he was known as Sergeant Grubby because he
Grubby.
because
Grubby.
he didn't ever polish his boots correctly.
Oh, what a grubby.
But he was also in the payroll office. So if you fucked with him, he would send your check to Iowa or somewhere. So he kind of
Checks
got
in the
away with a
mail.
lot of stuff.
Yeah. Are you getting cold? Should I turn the AC on?
Oh no, I am actually. This feels like about as
Good?
cold as it is in my house. So we're
Anybody
good.
need a
Yeah.
bathroom break?
I'm okay,
I'm good.
which
Okay.
is
Good so far.
unusual for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Normally you're the one like,
I gotta pay.
I gotta pay.
That's because I'm old.
I said we take a little break.
Yeah.
Because I got to pee.
You're only.
Well, then you should do that.
You're only as old as you feel.
I feel pretty old.
Shut up. No, you do not. So.
Are we back?
It's an excellent little break.
Yeah.
When you said that, so I have to assume that there was an issue in the bathroom.
No.
Okay, good.
It's flushing slow, though.
Okay.
But that wasn't why I said so. I had a thought. I just got done with a meeting
Throw
at the,
throw that on there.
Oh, right.
Let's tell everybody.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I got done with a meeting yesterday. I kind of like skirted in toward the end of it.
The Fort Worth Community Arts Center?
The fate of the Fort Worth Community Arts Center is what it was called.
Yes.
And there was a lot of speculation going around, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw this on your podcast just because it's related to what I do. There's a lot of speculation going around as to what the hell they were going to do with the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. Fort Worth has this reputation that big companies sweep in, they try to do a land grab, kind of like what happened with the Magnolia Motor Lounge, what happened with some of the bars in the area.
All that, yeah.
All that, you know. We won't get into
That whole block.
The whole freaking block is torn down now.
Well, and so what we're being told, and I I say that because I don't know what the source is, but what we're being told is that the Arts Center needs $20 million worth of renovations.
$26 million
How's that
worth of
possible?
renovation and repairs.
Yeah, and
because it's just never.
I mean,
been
I'm sure it
updated.
needs some help, but
Yeah.
so that's being used as a impetus to say, well, do we need the damn thing?
Right.
And it's right if you picture where it is. So
It's right by the museum.
right, so you got the museum row, right? You got Amon Carter, Kimball, Modern. Fort Worth Community Arts Center is just across from the Amon Carter. It's right next to Will Rogers, right next to Dickey's Arena, the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History, all of that. So it's a kind of a keystone spot.
Yeah.
Right.
So if they don't have the Community Arts Center there, the question, I guess, is what goes there? Do we put
Well, so
a
the meeting-
Chipotle? Like, what do we do? You know?
Right. The meeting actually was like, we're not getting rid of the Community Arts Center.
That's the way it always
might-
starts.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
might move it, but they have a committee that they've gathered together of people who are defenders of,
and
the
maybe
arts here in
maybe
Fort
you know
Worth
maybe
and-
it's fine. I don't know.
We're losing a
People
lot of
who
great
speak
shit
the
like that.
language.
You know,
Yeah.
the Fort Worth Central Library is closing?
Yes,
I
yes.
saw that.
Which
Saw
sucks
that.
for me because when I was a kid, I used to love going to that one.
So whenever I was talking to, I think Rita Alfaro about this, I'm pretty sure I cannot remember the episode number, but Rita Alfaro with the Fort Worth Public Library and Amplify 817, we were sitting down in the lower levels of the Fort Worth Central Library filming this thing, and the argument, she said, well, it's not an argument, but she says, I have so many people that tell me, like you started to say,
Yeah.
I've got memories there from
Oh,
when
yeah.
I was very young, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has that story. But Matthew, when's the last time you went there?
It's been a while.
Yeah, and that's everybody's deal.
And that's true. Well, for one thing, last time I went down there, you didn't have to pay.
For parking?
Yeah. Because you used to. Now, I'm going to show my age a bit here, but you used to be able to park down by the river and get on the subway. And the subway
Which is fascinating.
The
to
subway
me, I never saw that.
Yeah, the subway ran, well, from the 50s up through. I think the last one was like 03 or so. Last time it ran.
Don't get me started on subways
so
and
wow.
Fort Worth public transportation.
Yeah, but it was. But it would run.
We're working
Or
on
you
it.
can.
We're
Or
working
you
on
can.
it.
But that was how everybody parked.
Yeah.
You would park there, and it would take you into the Tandy Center, and then you could get out and go to the
So
library.
describe
or
for our
whatever.
listeners where the parking area was. Right
So-
there on the river.
Yeah. So
right?
so if you're if you know where Henderson Street crosses the Trinity River, right by the TCC campus. Just to the west of that is a bunch of. It's still a big parking lot.
there's still a big parking lot.
And
But there used to be more, right? You
Yeah,
could
there
park
used to
on
be
both
more
sides of
it.
the bridge.
Yeah, it used to be all on both sides, and every so often there would be a shed. In fact, I think those sheds are still there. It was a subway stop, and the subway was just a little tram car that would hold 30 people or so. You'd get on the tram car, it would go to the next stop, and then eventually it would go in this tunnel, and the tunnel would come out at the basement level of the. Now, originally in the 50s, it was the Leonard's department store. But then that closed down in the 70s, and it became the Tandy Center, which was kind of a big office complex. There was an ice rink in the middle of the Tandy Center that I took ice skating lessons at.
My mother talks about the ice rink. She
Yeah.
grew up in Fort Worth.
Was that underground as well?
That was on it was on basically the same level. It was so the Tandy Center was. It still is, I guess, 2 big office towers with an atrium in the middle.
Not the Pier 1 store.
No.
To Pier 1, that's a different
it's a new
building.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, Tandy Center's been there a lot longer than that. But and it's funny that nobody knows where it is now because nobody ever goes there because I think now it's like I don't even know what it is anymore. It was called the Tandy Center because Radio Shack was based there, and Tandy was the company that owned Radio Shack.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Isn't there a museum dedicated?
there's a
Yeah.
Leonard's museum. Yeah, because
That's
Leonard's
what I thought.
for a long time was the big dog. Like it was the reason people went downtown. That Willie Nelson's Christmas song, Pretty Paper, was about a guy who sat outside Leonard's department store and would sell wrapping paper
In Fort Worth.
In Fort Worth, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, Willie's got
Wow.
a lot of roots in here, but
Willie Roots.
like Leonard's was a big deal.
Got to get Willie. Got to get Willie on.
Yeah, Leonard. Yeah, quick. Yeah, pretty
Quick.
quick. But
Yeah.
so the Tandy Center was like I said, it was 2 office blocks, and then you had an atrium, and in the middle of the atrium there was this ice rink, and it was really cool for a long time. But keep in mind too, 80s and early 90s, downtown Fort Worth was not a safe place to be.
No.
It had kind of gone downhill, and the thing that finally brought it back was a lot of investment by the Bass Brothers and folks downtown to build things like the Caravan of Dreams, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best music venue Fort Worth ever had. It's not there anymore.
It's okay, Matt.
They built the Bass Hall and then shut down the Caravan. I'm still pissed about it. The Riata is now where the Caravan was.
But then, didn't they shut down the? Aren't they shutting down the Riata?
Yeah,
as
they're
well?
moving the Riata. But anyway, that whole Sundance Square development thing hadn't happened
Yeah.
at that point.
Right.
My grandparents were the grand poobahs of the Knights of the Pythias Lodge, which has the Pythian home out in Weatherford. There, when you go downtown, Haltom's Jewelers, there's that knight outfit that's up on like the 3rd floor of this building on Main Street. That was the Knights of the Pythias Lodge. That's where it had been for years. But then in the 80s, they stopped having meetings there because people were getting mugged coming out of the meeting because it was not safe downtown.
Don't go to Haltom.
So
Oh no. I think it's better now.
we're not. You can go to downtown. It's funny to me because I actually have there was somebody I was talking to about Sundance Square, and they're like, "Oh, well, it's not really safe, is it?" I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I can tell that you never went down there back in the day. Because
You were talking to my aunt.
Oh, was that who it was?
Who had not been out of her bubble in a very long time.
Yeah. Which is funny because I think, well, no, she didn't. I used to play down there back when it was a little less safe in the mid 90s. But, anyway, Tandy Center kind of declined with the rest of downtown during that period.
Yeah.
And it was not a portion of the area that ever quite recovered. So right after the tornado came through in 2000, and
Was that 2000? The one that broke out all the windows?
I
And
was
Yeah.
not here yet.
yeah, that
Jesus.
was that was in
I
2000.
can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, it was in 2000. It came through and knocked out the Bank One tower, which was where the Riata originally was at the top floor of the Bank One tower. So I got a
Poor
temp.
Riata, it's just going through hell.
It's got a history.
So a couple of years later, when I was getting ready to move to New York, I kind of just needed a temp job, and so I got a temp job at the temporary Bank One building, which was across from what was now the plywood covered.
Are you about to tell us the origin story of the 52 porn playing cards?
no.
At this point, we should
That was
just
before that.
nickname
Your
that
temp
Mr.
job.
Fort Worth
That
and
was
get it over with.
I've had way too many temp jobs. But no, that one. So to get to that one, I took the damn subway, and I was
Yeah.
one of the last people to take that subway commute before they shut it down
Oh,
in
man.
2002.
So what? Do we still have subway tunnels under Fort Worth?
So there, somewhere on YouTube, and you have to look it up. There's a guy who
I really wish
spelunked it.
David Millar would call in right now because he could tell you everything you needed
Yeah,
to know about the
there are people who
abandoned
study it.
roads and-
So that tunnel,
817-988-1292.
so the tunnel is still there, but it's not accessible to the public. The tunnel still runs under downtown.
What do you mean it's still...
I mean,
okay.
it's there.
Okay.
They didn't fill it in.
Yeah.
So
You
there
said run. I'm like,
no.
there's still...
So there was a guy. There was a guy who snuck in and filmed it down there a few years ago, and it's on YouTube, I think. But it was actually kind of reminiscent when I did live in New York. There are the stations that everybody uses, and then there's the stations that for one reason or other they don't use anymore, and there are people who spend a lot of time exploring those, those abandoned subway stations.
There was
and
a
things.
show on the History Channel not too long ago.
Okay, yeah.
Where they covered that. What the
Yeah.
hell was it called?
I can't remember what it was.
Fuck.
Subway tunnels we're not using anymore?
Yes. So, but it was kind of interesting because I watched that one that guy, and it reminded me of that a bit, because you're in there, and I have a very vivid memory of that tunnel from being a child.
Yeah.
Because the subway to me was cool as shit.
Yeah.
Because you would go into this tunnel and there were lights, and then you'd come out and there was an ice rink and candy machines and stuff, and it was it was a big
Dude,
deal.
I mean, my immaturity really comes out whenever you put me in a tunnel or around any kind of amazing architecture.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, tunnels are
I love tunnels.
just incredible. I don't know.
That's
It's like,
my-
how did you do this?
It's really it's interesting because I guess maybe part of me is a dwarf. I don't know, but the underground. Well, we just came back from Carlsbad Caverns.
It's called
and-
Cities of the Underworld on the History
Okay.
Channel.
Ah.
They talk about the underground area under
Well,
New York. So-
and if you get a chance to read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, that's a lot of that takes place in abandoned London subway stations.
which is really fucking cool, and I'd love to see.
yeah.
But anyway, so not the point. Not the point.
What was it anyway? The
Carlsbad Caverns.
Carlsbad Caverns. It's just this vast cavern network down there that no one knew anything about till what was it, 1880 something, when a kid saw a bunch of
some
bats
shit.
come out of it.
Yeah.
And was
He
like, oh, there must
dropped
be
a
something
rock
down
down
there.
it.
Dropped the rock and he couldn't hear when it hit the bottom. And so he brought in his dad and whoever, and they discovered this ginormous,
Massive cavern.
series of caverns. And it's always interesting to think about like what's going on underground to me,
Yeah.
And especially having lived in New York, my commute to work, a lot of it was underground.
Yeah.
You'd go down and you'd pop back up and you were in a completely different place.
Oh, it's interesting to me. He took me to New York, and I had been kind of on my bucket list since I was like, little bitty. But it's kind of dizzying because you'll go down into the subway, you'll pop back up like a little gopher.
Yeah, you get down in Brooklyn or something, and then
Yeah.
you come out and there's the Empire State Building.
And it's quick. It's like that. Like you're just on the train for like 3 minutes.
I was a grown ass adult before I made it to Washington D.C. And this is the first
They've got a great
time-
system.
Yeah, it's the first time I'd ever been exposed to a subway. And if it wasn't for some very nice DC residents, I would have never figured this out.
Yeah.
So you walk down there, and before you get to the ticket booth, you got to figure out, because, I mean, the ticket booth is moving.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you need to know what ticket you're going to take
Yep.
to go where. And I'm sure I bought a day pass, but I still didn't know where to go. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at this map, and I'm just standing there like a statue, just staring at all of the lines. And anyway, somebody came up to me, and they're like, okay, where are you trying to go?
Yeah. But
I see assholes like you all the time. I know you're desperate.
But that's the secret.
Are you lost?
That's the secret that people don't know. So everyone's always talking about New Yorkers are unfriendly, whatever. But if you're wandering around town in New York and you're not from there, and a New Yorker sees you lost, every one of those motherfuckers will come up to you and be like, "Where are you trying to get to?"
That's so cool.
You know, because you take a little bit of pride in, like, I know how to get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know,
But
and
you know,
I feel like that. Like,
I was absolutely fascinated, though, in the efficiency of the system.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
and that DC one is interesting because some of those, it's kind of different from the New York one.
It's
in that,
beautiful.
in that it's actually very architecturally
Very beautiful.
nice.
I can't say because I haven't been.
Yeah, it's cool.
I've taken some pictures. They're on a hard
Yeah,
drive
it's pretty.
somewhere, but
But it
Beautiful.
also is a deeper system than some other ones, and so the one at DuPont Circle is the one in DC that you get on this escalator and it descends into this massive hole in the ground, and it almost kind of looks like you're going into hell.
Oh, wow.
And you
Oh,
just
wow.
keep going and finally get to the bottom, and then there's this huge station in the bottom.
I don't know that I was at that one.
you might
But I
not have gone
do
to that
remember taking several escalators to get down
Yeah.
to where the platform, and I mean, you know, the ceilings, the walls,
Yeah.
everything's just beautiful. And then some of them had like really intricate like lighting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they use that kind of recessed lighting.
yeah, and I don't know. I think I expected something far more industrial looking,
Yeah.
but they'd taken a lot of care into the aesthetics of it. And it was absolutely
Well,
beautiful.
and
I was
I have,
mesmerized by it.
I think I read
Well, I'll
somewhere
add that to my bucket list.
part of why
Let's go.
Let's
part of why the DC one is as low as it is because that area was a swamp when they designated it as the state capital, and they had to drain a lot of that land in order to build anything there.
Got a little bit of the Potomac in it.
And so I think they had to dig down a ways to get past all the swampy bits into something that was solid.
The swampy bits. That's a band name right there, buddy. You just made a gold.
I used to play guitar for a swampy bit.
Lord, it works.
I mean, I kinda
Matthew Broyles and the
It's pretty
swampy
simple.
bits. Tonight's at
pretty
Lola's.
seamless.
But I always noticed that every city that has public transit kind of has its own character. Even Dallas has its own kind of public transit character. They got better public transit than we do.
They did.
You know.
They did.
But like if you go to Boston, it has its own kind of vibe to it. The San Francisco public transit has its own thing.
You ever been to Portland?
No, I still haven't been to Portland.
Okay, so we took I think it's Amtrak, from Seattle down to Portland. And when we got there, literally anywhere you want to go, you just walk onto a light rail. There's
Yeah.
always a car ready to go.
Yeah, yeah.
It
drove
just, I don't
through
know. It was
Seattle
amazing.
and Portland,
Yeah.
but we didn't stop.
Yeah.
Portland's
Unfortunately.
public
But it's
transportation,
because they've
10
invested.
years ago was amazing. I don't know
They've
about now.
invested in it to a
pretty
degree
cool.
where
I saw it.
you have to invest in it. You have to believe that it's valuable enough to put money into, and that's something that every time it's come up for a vote in Fort Worth, it's always gotten voted down.
I haven't seen it lately, but there was a spurt back in like 2017, 2018, where we were putting up little substations for these trains all over the place.
Yeah.
And they're still there, but it's like the effort doesn't seem to have continued at
No.
the same rate
Well,
of
what they're doing,
improvement that
what
it was
they're
at.
doing, that was the Tex Rail, I think, and the
I don't
Tex
know.
the Tex Rail is actually a pretty good system. It'll take, but so many of these systems that we build are with the idea of it going to the airport. It always goes to the airport,
Right.
And
Right.
Needs a destination.
which is fine, but there's other places beside the airport it could go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, the Cowboys Stadium, or freaking.
But what if you want to see some real football?
I mean, well, you know,
I don't want to offend, but
it's just. Well, and Arlington's the worst. So they're the largest city in the United States that has no public transit.
Do you know it's in their charter?
At all. Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
No, it like whenever Arlington was being formed, there's some kind of stipulation law. I don't know what the hell you call it, but they intentionally excluded public transportation because it draws in the wrong crowd.
The element. It brings in the element. Yeah.
yeah, he has a whole song about that.
Well, yeah. Good. Well, because it's
about the kind of people who ride the train.
Yeah, well, because so when I was was working in East Dallas, and in that portion of East Dallas I was in, there really are no trains. It was just a section where you had to get to it by bus, and I was a broke ass, and so I would take the bus in.
I'm glad to see you're rich now, sir.
Yeah, well, yeah, I take the train now, but I'm on this city bus, and
he's okay. He's
fucking
a friend.
mayfly.
Those
Skeet
freaking
eater.
things are everywhere. You need a
But-
cat.
But you may have noticed, looking at me, I am a cracker ass white dude, right?
Oh,
And
oh my!
and I was the only cracker ass white dude on the bus. And so when I would go into this office full of cracker ass white dudes, and they would go, they go, oh, well, drive in was kind of rough. I was like, well, I don't know, I didn't drive. I took the bus. You took the bus?
Oh my gosh!
It's like, yes. Why did you? It's not safe on the buses. It's like, yeah, I just got on the bus, and it took me where I needed to go.
Now I'm here.
And it was, they were, shocked. They were shocked to the core that I had taken this fucking bus. And so it irritated me so much that Union Station's the song I wrote about it, just making fun of these people, of just like, well, there ain't no white people on the bus. What the hell are you talking about?
I think I know exactly why they didn't want to take the bus, and it's because of a movie I saw when I was a kid called The Specialist.
Oh,
with Rocky Balboa,
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, there was like
I thought you were going to say Speed.
It wasn't Speed, but that's also a good example of why you don't take the
Yeah,
bus.
that's a great example.
See, Dallas buses, that ain't going to happen. I don't think a Dallas bus can get over 20 miles an hour.
Not in a straight line. No, sir. Are you out of your mind?
I've never seen them go faster than that.
Yeah.
It was weird because
Is that the 5 in up and down California?
what
The
whatever
route they were on?
I can't remember.
Had to be some long straight stretch. I don't know.
Yeah, the one I was on was a 19, and that's weird that I can still remember that. But that was where I was when 9/11 happened. I was in that office over in East Dallas, and then they told us all to go home. I had to get on the bus, and of course the buses were running super slow because they were, everyone was freaking out and checking everybody. And I remember that long. Like it was like a 2-hour ride to get home to where I was staying, and just had a lot of time to. I had no cell phone. I had to just sit and think about what the fuck is happening, and everyone's wigging out, and I didn't actually see a picture of it and a live video of it until I got home, and it was all over, but there is something about public transit that kind of forces you to be in the space with other people.
Yeah.
People who are different from you, whether they're richer than you or poorer than you or what. Like if you get on the train in New York, you're on there with a homeless guy, a millionaire, an artist, a barista. You're on there with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think
that's why I liked it.
I think when we're in our and that same thing happens in D.C. and other cities. I think what happens in a place like this is we get in our little bubbles. Is that a?
We got a call.
All right.
Give it a shot.
Who it is?
First time caller, long time listener. Welcome to the Fort Worth Roots podcast.
I'm so excited to be on.
You should be, sir. Who is this? State your name.
This is Keegan.
Keegan.
Hey.
This Keegan McEnroe?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Up.
Holy.
Hey, y'all just happened to send me a message when I was driving for another hour or so. I got nothing better to do than on a Friday night than to call y'all. See what's going on.
We got a Fort Worth legend on the show tonight.
Yeah.
What's up?
And Keegan McEnroe.
Hell yeah.
Infamous. Where are you driving to?
Dublin, Texas.
Oh,
okay.
damn.
You gonna get some cane sugar Dr. Pepper down there?
Don't say Dr. Pepper.
Get the Dr. Pepper. You won't regret it. It's good shit.
Oh, you can't. Y'all are a little late, man.
Did they tear it down?
They got smashed out by Big Dr. Pepper about 10 years ago.
No.
Oh well, fuck that shit.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah. So there was an agreement that allowed Dublin Dr. Pepper to operate within I think it was a 5-county radius or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dublin Dr. Pepper started showing up in Fort Worth, Austin, all these other places, and so big Dr. Pepper smashed them out.
Sons of bitches.
That's awful.
I know.
But I still see
So
Dublin around. Dublin Dr.
Oh
Pepper.
well, there's the Dublin Bottling Works,
Right.
Okay.
They still
which
bottle.
is the same. Yeah. So they're still bottling different things, but it's not Dr. Pepper. They had a black cherry for a little bit that they had to stop making because it was basically Dr. Pepper.
Wow.
So there's a fast food restaurant down the street called Grumps, and they get all of their soda from Dublin. I don't know what it's called or how.
It'd be the Dublin Bottling Works. Yeah.
Okay. It's delicious. It's the best
They have
damn thing coming out of the tap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got
doing some
triple X.
window painting for them at some point.
Oh, right on. Yeah, triple X root beer is one of them, and they have a cream soda, and they have all the various things.
That's cool.
Keegan, are you playing down there tonight?
No. Speaking of Fort Worth legends, Matt Tedder's bachelor party is going to be out there tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
So I'm going,
Really? Wow.
That's right. He's getting married April 21st. So he's a good boy these days. He doesn't drink anymore, and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything naughty. So he wanted to go to my mom's house and play poker.
Okay. Well, that's that's
Tell him congratulations for us.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah,
awesome.
my mom's got a lovely Victorian home out there. So
cool.
we have a poker tournament once a year in December, and so I guess this is where the idea came from. But anyway, yeah. So that bachelor party is going to be at my mom's house.
Very nice.
Well, Keegan, man, I thanks for calling in tonight. We'd love to have you on the Fort Worth Roots podcast sometime.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, anytime, man. Hit me up.
It's a good time.
I will.
Keegan and I played a show. He invited me to go play at the new Cicada last night.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a damn good time. Had
That was damn good.
James Michael Taylor and
phenomenal.
Denver Williams. And it was very interesting to be in that space again.
How's the sound out there at Cicada?
It's good. So my humble brag, my bass player, Clay Anderson, was running sound, and he does a lot out there. So he makes sure everything sounds right.
Clay did a bang-up job, and you guys sounded phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, plays
A
awesome.
lot of love in that room.
Yeah, that was the thing about it, is that I was kind of mentioning that at the time. Fort Worth has all of these different threads running through it, and one of the threads was the Mass thread. The other one was like the Tin Panther thread. There's the Grotto thread was running through there.
Oh, yeah.
And it all kind of got mashed up in that place, last night. And I kind of liked that those various threads were mingling.
There were mingling threads.
Yes.
They were just tickling a little. It's fine.
Keegan, do you think that Cicada is going to pick up the notoriety that Main and Southside had?
It's too cozy. It's too cozy for that kind of notoriety. It's gonna have. It's gonna take its own spot. It's not gonna. I mean, I saw some of the shows they have coming up. They got some great rock and roll shows coming up.
Yeah.
So they're still gonna do that. But isn't it very cozy compared to Mass?
Yeah, for sure.
Is. Mass always, it felt a little more like a kind of a Deep Ellum style, like big room, not a lot of furniture type of situation. This one reminds me a little more of the Tin Panther, a little more kind of a neighborhood bar type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
But in
Service industry haven.
But it has a much better stage and sound system than the Tin Panther did, so you have the capacity to do bigger shows there.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think they're probably not going to put their entire focus on that. But if it can,
well, I mean, they did a great job, for the time they had the Tin Panther, and they've already. I mean, I walked in there not long after they'd opened. I thought, man, it feels like they've been here for a long time. It was the intricacy of all the tchotchkes and all the various things they have everywhere. It's like.
As John Stevens told me, the men's bathroom is decked out like a mid-'80s Captain D's, so that's probably about right. I think.
I actually had not had the pleasure of seeing the men's restroom until last night. I've visited the ladies' room plenty, but
ladies' room is all decked out, man.
I kind of wanted to walk in a sailor suit after that.
Yeah.
Well, Keegan, where are you playing next, man?
Oh, that's a good question. I got a gig on Sunday, but I can't remember where. I'm driving. Look it up.
Okay. No, tell you what.
After the poker game, you got to go.
You got any big shows coming up in about a month?
The big show that I have. I mean, I'm doing the Thursday night thing at Cicada, of course, with the song swap, and we got 2 more of those. But I'm also releasing a new album later this year, and so the first single releases April 14th. And I already had April 7th booked Twilight Lounge.
Nice. Yeah.
So we're going to make April 7th kind of a pre-release kickoff party. So I got a real good band lined up for it, and that'll be the last band show until summer or whatever, because I'm leaving. I got a Willie special show on April 20th, 4/20th at Magnolia Motor Lounge, but.
That's a great.
But as far as it is a great. Well, it's the Willie specials. We're having a Willie early birthday party for Willie Nelson. It's 90th this year.
Oh gosh!
Damn.
So so the Willie specials are playing 9 days before his 90th birthday. We're gonna have a birthday party for him.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, but yeah, the last of the Keegan McEnroe band shows will be April 7th until I come back from Europe in the summertime.
Keegan, if you wanted to incorporate your album rollout with the Fort Worth Roots podcast, kind of coming in and talking about that and promoting that album release, we'd be honored to have you on, man.
Man, I'd love to. Yeah, for sure.
So I'll send you a message.
Cool.
Yeah, it'd be a good time.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for hitting us up.
Yeah, I was driving. I was like, who's messaging me right now on a Friday night?
Trista Morris knows everybody.
Yeah, she was.
I'm promoting like a motherfucker, my friend.
Well, I took a picture of that painting. It's on the wall in the house on the art wall. Because the place I'm living. Yeah, the place I'm living is with Katie Robertson, which used to be the Sam
Love
Gallery.
Katie, she's awesome.
Yeah.
So y'all remember the Sam Supported Motherfuckers Gallery, the Sam Gallery?
Yeah.
There in the Fairmount? So that's the house.
Okay.
Really? Wow. Okay. Okay.
And so your art from last night is on the wall now.
That's
well,
awesome.
fuck yes. I forgot to sign it. Now that I think, I'll go up there and sign it sometime.
You can come over and sign it anytime.
Cool. Hey, add me on Facebook. I tried adding you after that because I tagged you in a few photos.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
right on. I'll do that.
Cool.
All right, brother. Well, hey, watch out for deer.
Yeah.
Don't
I'm almost. I know it. I'm almost off of I-20 and onto the little pig trail to Dublin. So that's where the deer are. But hopefully they'll leave me alone.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, have a good evening. Thank you again for calling.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's good to talk to everybody. Y'all have a good night.
All right, see ya.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, I've actually got Keegan has a major role in my radio play that I'm doing right now.
Oh shit, we were supposed to do that tonight.
Is it? Oh, that's right. We'll do it another day.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So I had some questions about that.
Yeah.
So I read the lines for our listeners. Matthew Broyles, our guest today,
Yes.
Sent me a script. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be famous.
That's right.
And it is
Fort
a
Worth
very,
famous.
very important role.
It is.
It's the what's the general
Captain Perez.
and he is escorting somebody to the body of a fallen soldier.
Yeah. So there is a soldier who has been shot in a border altercation,
Said Fort
and
Worth famous.
he is and so he is the base. He's the base commander for this area that they're in, and so he's leading Keegan, the gentleman played by Keegan McEnroe.
Oh, no shit.
Colonel Levi Haley.
I just met my partner in my role.
You just met your boss, yeah.
My superior.
Yeah. So, Colonel Levi Haley is voiced by Keegan McEnroe in as he puts it, a combination of Sam Elliott and Tom Waits.
That's beautiful.
It's a good...
Can you imagine that, baby? Oh, my God.
Looks like Keegan McEnroe, yeah.
It sounds a little like Keegan with some flair. I'm going to go with flair.
Yeah. No, he did a good bang-up job on that. I've been really lucky on this because everybody I know is either a musician or a podcaster or some kind of artist or whatever, and so I don't know, but I don't really know that many actors.
Right.
And so when I'm going to cast this thing, I'm like, well, I don't really know actors, but singers are kind of like actors.
Yeah.
So I found that when I brought musicians and radio people in and whatnot, that actually they were pretty good actors.
Nice.
So I got Levi Ray is one of the main characters. Reed Perry does another part. And they're all doing really well, actually.
That's awesome.
And it's been kind of cool to watch the whole thing unfold.
And what's the name of the production?
It's called Rewired. It's based on...
off the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's based
that
on...
I have not read yet?
Right.
That I own?
But you own it. That's the important part.
Yes.
Well, once it
Buy
comes
the
out as
book.
a radio play...
Whether you
can
read
listen
it
to
or
the
not.
audiobook.
Yeah. That's kind of what... So here's where I kind of thought about it was that I sometimes have a hard time finding time to read.
Yeah.
Because I've just got... It's just a lot of shit
Dude,
going on.
I've got so many books that I'm trying to get through.
Yeah, I got a pile. And so when I would talk to people and they would be like, oh, I need to read your book, but I don't really have time to read.
Yeah.
But they would also be like, yeah, I'm always on Audible and I'm listening to audiobooks. And so I thought, well, I should make an audiobook of that.
Yeah.
But there's so many characters, and the thought of having to come up with a voice for each one of those characters,
How would you
I was
do
just
it?
kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it... But I grew up listening to...
You actually made this way more complicated, though.
Far more complicated.
You should see his organizational notes.
I have a
just
spreadsheet that'll make your eyes pop out of your head.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But multiple spreadsheets. But
I voiced one of the characters,
Yeah,
so I was there when he
right.
was kind of trying to figure out how to block everybody
Yeah.
in and schedule it. And
but from having done things like podcasting and I've had to fly stuff in before, so I knew how to do it. But this is 26 episodes, each one probably about a half hour.
That's so cool, man.
So it takes a while. But, I grew up listening to Orson Welles, radio shows, and I kind of thought, what if we kind of brought that aesthetic to it? So I got Paul actually came up with a really cool kind of a noir type theme music for it. And I've got my friend LtJg Melody doing the announcing, and so I think it'll be a cool thing once we get it done. I think I can safely say probably late fall of this year. I'll probably have it ready to.
Well, let's do another episode where we talk about that for the release.
I think it'll be pretty.
That's so cool. So my thing is with books and Audible, I do not retain shit when I listen to it.
I had that same problem.
I've got to read it. I really do. So
I had that same problem.
I'm reading Starbucks.
Holy shit! Do we still have Keegan on?
Keegan, you still there?
I'm still here. I'm still here.
You sneaky bastard!
I know. I was just listening. I thought, well, I've got nothing else to do.
I thought we cut you off an hour ago.
Nope. I'm here. I'm just listening. And then,
That's okay.
What's up, man?
I'm just
No, dude.
I don't know how I would get you on my radio dial here. So I thought, well, I get to hear the show this way.
Yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah.
okay. Go right ahead.
Whatever
Shit,
works.
listening live.
I wasn't gonna say a damn thing. I was just gonna sit here and let y'all finish.
I think I heard your blinker or something. I don't know what we were hearing.
I just turned onto that little pig trail I mentioned off to Dublin, so I'm off the highway now.
That's fucking hilarious.
That's great.
Brother, okay. Well,
That's awesome, man.
again, watch out for those deer. You're in the danger zone now.
I know it.
Keegan McEnroe,
Absolutely.
everybody.
For the second time.
All right, brother. Hey, we're gonna
Sneaky motherfucker. Oh, you're cutting me off now.
No, you can't. I don't know.
You got more to say?
Why not?
He's
Let
got
him.
more to say.
No.
He's just listening.
I'm
He's
engaging in voyeurism.
Yes, that's cool. You can do that all you want.
All right.
I am unbothered.
Yeah, I'm unbothered.
Completely.
My concentration is blown. I mean, we've got Keegan McEnroe. I mean, what else can we?
You didn't know you were being monitored.
Now Facebook can't necessarily
right.
hear you, Keegan, but
That's true. Yeah.
Well, see,
they will eventually.
But see, this is why this is exactly an example. So I was listening to an interview with Henry Rollins, and he was talking about. They were asking about Ted Nugent, and he's had some differences.
Everybody's had differences with Ted.
Well, but
Nugent.
he said it doesn't matter what anybody asks me. I always assume that if I'm on an interview show and I'm talking about somebody, that person's going to be waiting for me in the parking lot when I get out.
Oh,
right.
Sorry, Ted Nugent. I know you have a lot of weapons in your car.
So that's the way to go.
And so it's really funny because I've had exactly the same thing where I've thought I got off the phone with somebody, but I didn't get off the phone with somebody, like in a work situation.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And sometimes you start talking, and you ought not.
So I learned at a very young age, probably 19, 20 years old, that you never say anything that you wouldn't say in front of the convoy commander.
Yeah, right.
Ever.
Right.
Because somebody might be laying on that
somebody going
mic.
Yeah.
That somebody might accidentally be keying up that mic, and then you say some bonkers shit that's going to get you hemmed up later because you didn't know
never know
that you were transmitting to every radio in the convoy.
Yeah, no.
That's exactly what I was doing here.
You never know when sneaky ass Keegan might be listening in.
That's right.
Waiting for you in the parking lot.
Hey, the reality is I've been here from the beginning.
Oh,
And,
shit.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so
We stepped into
funny.
the multiverse here. Go ahead.
From
Continue.
Well, yeah.
really, actually, I'm just now letting myself be known.
Okay, Dr. Strange.
if he was an assassin, we would all be dead.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was talking about my stealthiness earlier. I don't think I got anything
He
on
beat
him.
you. He beat you.
Freaking ninja
flat
the
out.
whole thing. That's hilarious, man.
Oh Lord.
It was my blinker that gave me away.
It
Yeah,
was your
blinker.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, add that. add that to your stealth training textbook. No blinkers when being
no
stealthy.
blinkers.
Oh shit.
Damn it.
I think any sniper would have been like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah.
no blinkers."
No blinkers take you right out.
It's a way to turn that sound off, I'm sure.
Keegan, we are going to clear the line, man, because we got other people trying to
All
call
right.
there, brother.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Much
that
love,
was funny.
you sneaky bastard.
All right.
Hold on.
Yeah. Have a good night.
I like how you were like, I want to do the sound.
He did it great. For those of you, well, the video died out because it's a long ass
Oh, yeah.
episode.
Okay.
But for those of you listening, that was all Matt with the
so
the
funny.
sound effects there at the end.
It's almost like Matt ran a podcast and a radio show or something.
But did you have a roadcaster?
No, but
This is state of the art technology,
It
sir.
it is. But we
I
actually,
wish we had this when I tried
I know.
articulation out. That would have been
It's
very
so
helpful.
easy.
because I've always had to cobble it together from my various studio rigs, and this is custom built for the task.
And it's so like, I mean, I can do anything with this shit. Like the other
Yeah.
day, I had somebody on, and they were saying they were gonna like send me something through Google Drive, and she mentioned that she was going to make it like view only, and I'm like, all right, well, I could bootleg it with this thing, but why don't you just send me the version where I can download it? Anyway, but it's that versatile. There's nothing I can't do with this damn machine.
Yeah, and it's
pretty
one of
freaking
those
cool.
things. God, I keep aging myself with this, but like
We're old. Let's just. It's
Yeah, I
okay.
know.
It's okay.
But like
I'm the young one in the room.
I
It's all right.
remember, so the reason why I stopped being in like regular ass rock bands in the late '90s and started making records at home was because of technology like this.
Yeah.
Because this Roland VS880. So Casey Hess, who it was in Dusu back in the day, and now has his own little solo thing. Fantastic guitarist out of Dallas. He had one of these things at his house, and I was working with him at a record store, and he made a whole a whole ass album, like at his house, with the little fucking recording thing, and I went, "You can do that? I don't have to spend thousands of dollars going to a damn studio." And so, to me, like that was it, you know. And so it's cool. Like they've this is kind of like that, but it's a custom for like voice work, rather than like recording music. But this. If I'd seen this thing back in like 1997, I'd have shit my pants.
Yeah, it's insane. No, it's crazy. And whenever I was doing the research on how to do a podcast, this thing is exactly what I would have imagined, which kind of feeds into my delusion that this is all a simulation, because this is perfect for me. I mean,
you actually just dreamed that up.
I put an SD card in the back. It records a file. I can use it. It's the whole reason I don't use Apple products.
Yeah, well.
I don't use Apple products because they're unnecessarily weird to use. Like the phone is weird to use. The computer's more intuitive than the phone.
Oh, I have much more simple reason for not using Apple products because I'm a broke ass.
Oh, right. No, I just don't like the iPhones, and I had a choice between a Samsung and an iPhone. Anyway,
we just lost all our iPhone users.
I know.
That's okay. No, y'all come back.
Where'd you go?
It's
Please
great.
don't leave
They've
us.
made upgrades. It's not a tiny broken thing
I don't
anymore.
even know if that
carry in
thing's
your
still
pocket.
running.
I have no idea.
Are we still broadcasting to the...
Oh, it
It's
doesn't
dead.
look... It's dead. We've been talking to ghosts.
It's okay.
That's what I do half the time anyway.
See,
Anyway, we'll
Mike
see how that
Montgomery,
turned
I
out.
sent this to Mike Montgomery, and he probably got like the blank screen, and he's like, "You want me to what?"
I guess it's over.
I guess it's over.
That's it.
So I guess you'll have to hear about the.
So
Apple
I need
products
better
later.
equipment, but we are picking up sponsors.
Yeah.
We've been
Well,
doing-
that's something.
We've been doing good
Fantastic.
on that. So
I was trying to think when was I first on this show? Was that in 2021?
long fucking time ago.
Was that in 2020?
Back
I
in the
think it
day.
was like toward the end of 2020.
No, you weren't. Were you one of the original 10?
I was
think
pretty
so.
early.
Yeah,
I was pretty
think he
early.
was.
Did we record in a kitchen?
Yeah.
In a kitchen with your dog running around.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that was one of the original 10. Let's
Okay.
look it up.
Yeah,
Hold
I think
on.
that-
Come
I
on,
think
we've
that's
got
correct.
technology. I want to know, because
Because
we need to do this more often. By the way,
Yes, we do. I always
because this is,
I get stuck
the
in my own
best.
head and I forget that the rest of the world exists. So
dude.
you know.
So in my plight lately has been, I've got people emailing me like crazy to guest
in
on the
here.
show.
Oh yeah.
And so I kind of lose some control over that. Like I don't get
Sure.
to reach out and find the people that I
Right.
want or invite my friends back.
And this is the
on.
thing that happens when I was running the barbershop. That happened all the time. You know, I tended to have the ones who were the most persistent.
Yeah.
Rather, because often the people I wanted to talk to, they were busy doing their own shit.
Right.
And you kind of had to chase them
Being
down.
productive.
I had that problem with articulation where like nobody would reach out and
look at
say,
that.
"Hey, I want to be on it."
Episode 7, Matthew
Yep.
Broyles.
What date is that?
Oh shit. July 19, 2020.
Okay.
Wow.
Gosh,
So
that's
you-
longer
so
ago than I
midway
thought.
through it.
You
midway through
brave MFers were
Yeah, brave or foolish. I don't
we
know
were
which
doing
one
the
it-
thing. And
that
I,
was-
I remember us talking about it like, oh, you
Yeah.
know, well, we're, you know, this is why it's okay. And we,
Well, it was weird because at the
We had
time
discussions.
I had just started playing shows again, and it was strange because you had people who were really, really mad at me for playing shows.
now, and I got to say, I'm looking at this, and the first
And-
10 episodes were all released on July 19th. So the day we
okay.
recorded
Might have
was
been,
probably sooner.
Yeah, probably so.
Probably quite a bit sooner.
My sentiment about those people being pissed at you for playing shows was shut the fuck up. You got to
No,
eat,
I understand.
You know?
I actually
Like, you're not
understood
on the
it. I actually
assistance.
understood it. It's
You're
just
far
that
too
I
nice.
I was just in a situation where my day job pays for most of my expenses, but not all of them.
Yeah.
So gigs make up the rest, and if the gigs disappear, I don't have a place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when I would play those places, I'd be like, I'm up here on stage, y'all are way down there. You know, we're gonna be as safe as possible. I didn't go around, you know, breathing in people's faces.
I don't have a choice.
I mean,
It's either play or die.
well, because you know, in Texas they weren't going to be like, well, let's make sure the artist can survive. You know, they're like,
They were
well,
like, "Here's a piece of meat. Good luck, you guys." Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will say that in Fort Worth, from what I've listened to from other people in the industry, it sounds like we did more than most places.
Yeah, we
and
did.
it wasn't enough to completely fix the situation.
But see, this is why
at least we did
this
something.
is my stance that I always have, is that I'm not the biggest fan of Texas, but I love Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Like Fort Worth, I feel like, for instance, Rachel Golay, who's another fine, she organized this whole fund from local businesses and things to give grants to artists during all of that.
Which, by the way, I applied for multiple times, and I got it multiple times because all of my shows, all of my art shows evaporated. Yeah. Every opportunity I had on the books went away in a day.
And and the same thing, you know,
organizations like that, we were able to keep some people. You know, it wasn't enough to correct the situation, but at least it helped.
Did something.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
You were given,
and that says a lot about our community.
And at the same time, and the same thing happened. So when the Floyd protests and whatnot, you know, Dallas was tear gassing people and all this kind of stuff, and Fort Worth was
peaceful protest.
We're actually talking with the organizers, and you know, like I gave Fort Worth a lot of credit during that period for being
one thing
much more reasonable.
During that incident. Two of our Fort Worth cops were actually injured during one of those protests, and still we didn't have.
Was that on the bridge?
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
And we still did not have the response that Dallas did with the gassing and all the other shit.
So I do think. Sorry.
So Aaron Hutz, another local artist here in town, he was actually on the front lines of the bridge, and he watched what started all of that, like what started the they did get tear gassed, yes. But it was like minimum.
Yeah.
Well, and again, that it was not near like Dallas was just. They were,
Dallas was relentless.
And what came out after that is that the people that started the shit that ended
somebody came up from behind the crowd and hurled water bottles full of ice at the cops.
Yeah. And however they know this, I don't know. I don't understand how they ascertained this information.
I don't know.
But they are 100% sure that those people were not from Fort Worth. Like they came to this thing to start some shit.
Yeah.
You know?
See, we all thought they were from the bar. So when I talked to Aaron, he goes, "I thought they were from like West 7th or something because they didn't look like they were
they were
with us."
People were coming in from outside.
Yeah.
And that's why again, it's my
on
my
the side
complicated
of the
relationship with the place I live is that I love this town. I really feel like I'm part of the musical and creative landscape of this town, and it's a rich landscape. It's people who, some of the most amazing songwriters I know, live here, and it just is weird that we're in the middle of a state that also seems to not really give a shit about them.
Right. So, like in the art scene, it's the same way. There's a very tight knit art scene. It can kind of feel like you're like hanging out with the wolves sometimes if you're new to it.
Well, sure, but that's
if you're new to a scene. But we have people like Nancy Lamb, who is a longtime artist here in Fort Worth, and she's a huge supporter of the arts. Literally, if you're a new artist and you're doing something that she thinks is interesting, be like, "Hey, can you share this?" And she shares it everywhere.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of that.
That collaboration is so important.
We have Ann Zeta, who's a big supporter of the arts too, and music.
Yeah,
she's been to Matt shows.
But it's in every one of these creative industries, and then the businesses in our community. Like we've got this River Oak Springfest car show.
Yeah.
Which
I need to sign up for.
I think this episode will be out before then, but the businesses in the community that stood behind that last year are back again this year. And they didn't have to be contacted. They were calling Darren to get a spot.
Good.
Yeah.
And that I don't know.
I think
I just love it, man. I don't know. I think we're in the best spot at the best time.
Well, and I'll tell you, it hadn't always been like that because
no, of course not.
When I was coming up here in the 90s, it felt a lot more empty. It felt a lot more like everyone was going somewhere else to make it. They were going to Dallas or Austin or wherever. And there was a scene here, but it wasn't robust.
Yeah.
And when I came back, in the mid-aughts, it felt different. It felt like something had kind of bubbled up.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's really just done nothing but keep.
What do you think caused that, too? Because, I mean...
it's a hard question to answer. I think it's a combination of things.
There's got to be an ignition point because... Like you're saying, it wasn't always like this.
No, it wasn't.
Is it maybe because Austin became too commercialized?
Well, few things.
that was the Mecca.
That was
Honestly?
it was, but you're correct that's also when the tech bros started moving in Austin.
Yeah.
And pricing everybody out, because I remember in the mid to late aughts, musician friends of mine in Austin were moving to Wimberley and places outside of Austin because they couldn't afford Austin rent anymore.
Yeah.
And some of them came up here.
That was one of the reasons we came up here.
Yeah.
2008 or so
Yeah.
is when we moved up here, and it was because
From where?
From Georgetown, Texas,
Oh, okay.
which is
Just
literally
north. Yeah.
30 minutes outside of Austin. We were looking at places to move in that area, looking for work, and it was hard to find jobs there.
Yeah.
Like, there was just nothing.
But some of it's bigger than that because some of it is. So it was actually kind of interesting. There was a lot of, when I was in New York, there were a lot of people who were talking about moving to Texas, which was strange to me because I had just fled Texas.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Right. I was just like, but then of course, the rents at that time were cheaper. And
I guarantee you,
That's kind of what's happening
even
now.
as astronomical as shit is now.
no, it's still
going to be
it's still
cheaper
more expensive
than
there. But
most places. Yeah.
but it was significantly cheaper at that time, and we've had an influx of people from outside. So I remember growing up around here. I would say, if you just ran into a random individual at the grocery store and you asked them where you're from, back in the 70s and 80s, probably 75 to 80% of the people were from here.
Yeah. Or Haltom, or
somewhere in the
neighboring,
somewhere in the
community,
general area. And I think now,
it's all over the place.
if you ask your average citizen, I think you got I don't even know what the chances are now, but it's much more rare to find somebody who's from here.
Sure.
And
Becoming a little bit of a melting pot.
Yeah. And that's been interesting because I think it's done a few things. Economically, it's made it where venues, for instance, can't afford to pay musicians, which is something that wasn't always the case.
Yeah.
But it also just creates audiences. It creates people who are in places.
Yeah.
Which was why COVID scared the shit out of everybody, because it's like, oh, what's going to happen to this? But of course, time goes on and you get past all that.
Save our stages.
Yeah,
Think
right.
About.
And I remember the not just the musicians who were worried about it, but the listeners who were worried about it, who were fans of these people. And I had people who would, message me like, "You okay?" And so I think it's hard to put a button on it and go, "This is the reason why the scene got better."
Yeah.
But there was just all of this. And the previously mentioned craft brew scene, I honestly think made a big dent in it too.
Yeah, more venues,
more places to play, more people to understand that it existed. A lot of people, they always thought Austin is the music town,
right?
And they're like, Fort Worth, and it isn't Fort Worth. But I think often, so when you and I first got together, you really hadn't explored the Fort Worth music scene very much.
No, I actually, when I moved here, I didn't know that anything was up in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I'd always been told my whole life, there's nothing downtown. Just avoid it, whatever. And we did like a brief little once over in downtown, and then I was like, So I started looking at places like Grapevine for work and found work. Started managing a studio
But
up
she
there.
didn't really know about the Fort Worth music scene.
Yeah.
And so when I started taking her out to shows, and we're meeting people.
I was like, this was here?
Yeah.
The whole fucking time? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. But you kind of have to know where to look for it, though. Like I know to go down to the Cicada, or I know to go, to Twilight Lounge or whatever. And
I meet people every single day when I'm out that have no clue. So
no, they don't know.
Someone I brought to the Cicada last night, Candace Power, she's another artist here in Fort Worth. She had no idea that Fort Worth had like a music scene.
Right.
Or a community like that.
That seems weird to me now.
Really?
Well,
at this point.
But you think about it, though, and you think...
True.
Right?
True.
But how visible is it, though, a lot of times,
Well, if you listen to the Fort Worth Roots podcast,
there you go.
You know all about
that fixes everything.
I mean, Keegan McEnroe was on tonight.
Absolutely.
I got Matthew Broyles here.
It is funny because I
you got Trista Morris?
I'm old enough that I remember...
Also a legend.
That's right. I remember. I'm old enough to remember when the Fort Worth Weekly used to be a pretty thick, publication.
Not much to it.
And
now.
it's so thin now. And I was joking with the kiddo the other day. I was kind of looking. I was like, I actually think that I know all of the readers of this publication personally.
Probably.
Well, so and listen, if my buddy Eddie from the Fort Worth Weekly or anybody else
And
from
I
the
love
Fort
Eddie.
Worth Weekly, if they're listening, this is no shade on you.
No. It's not your fault.
I'm patting myself on the back here. So I just inked a deal with McFly's down the street, which we're about to end this, and we're going to go down and have a drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a good
It's
idea.
good for me.
Cool.
But anyway, we're sitting there, and I'm talking with Casey, the owner, and we're talking numbers before we ink the deal for him to be a sponsor on the show. And he's like, man, you've already done more than the Fort Worth Weekly has ever done, because we had a little get-together, and I brought in, I think, 25 people in one night.
Oh,
And
wow.
we were having a great time. And
But
it's on my podcast
Yeah.
with friends and stuff.
But in fairness, I think how many employees does a weekly have?
no,
now?
that's the
Yeah,
thing. That's the
It's
thing. And
what-
I
They used to
uh,
have a staff.
Yeah.
I love my boys
It's
over
at
there
least
at Jerry
10.
Jonestown
It's at
Massacre,
least
but
10.
we talked about with Eddie Brown when he was here on the show. Jerry Jonestown Massacre was talking a lot of schmack,
Oh well, they do that.
and so we brought that up. And
been on that show.
this comment is not totally pointed at Dustin and Stubbs, but a lot of people were really upset. I mean, really upset the way they handled the music nominations this year for best
that's
of
every
and all
year,
that.
though.
Yeah,
Every year,
but-
people
I
are
was always
pissed
mad.
about the
I guess this is the one that I was really just laser focused on.
Okay.
But like you said, they used to have a huge staff. They have about a third of what they used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
nowhere near.
It's not what it used to be.
It's not.
Shout out to Johnny Govea, by the way. You're
Yes,
awesome.
Johnny. We
We
love
Yeah.
you, Johnny.
You're awesome.
But that's the funny thing about it is that when I look at it, I'm like, okay, there's a story on a friend of mine, written by a friend of mine.
right.
And they're talking about a show they're playing at a place I'm playing. I mean, it's all people who know people, which is why
It's
they.
I'm noticing the threads now.
Yeah.
Having now that you've mentioned the threads,
Yeah.
relating to the Fort Worth Weekly and also the Dallas Observer, and also
which is also much smaller than it
So-
used to be.
I was on the news for that mural, right?
Oh yeah.
The gentleman who put me on the news,
That was so cool
who
seeing
interviewed
that.
me, his name was Evan Anderson, and he grew up in River Oaks.
Okay.
And I'm like, it extends all the way out to Dallas. These little threads that
Yeah.
we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and it's also, we're talking in the space of like 15, 20 years. There's a lot of people, last night I played a show with James Michael Taylor, right?
Yeah.
That guy's been playing shows here since the early 70s.
That guy
Right.
is
Have you
wild.
had him on?
Yes. No, I haven't had. No. I haven't had him on, but
Yeah.
I've sat around
Yeah.
a fire and talked to him for hours.
And he
Super interesting.
and he hit the perspective that he offers on this area is amazing because he's seen so many iterations of it. And
He's old.
well, he is, older than me. I mean, he put out his first album, I think, when I was born.
We love you, Mr. Taylor.
You're awesome.
But it's funny because the older I get, the more I kind of see. I'm going to predict this that in 20 years, I'm JMT. Right?
I can see that.
Because I remember him
I bet
back.
he'll arm wrestle you for that title. He'll
Yeah,
be like, no,
well,
I'm me,
he'll be
though."
dead. It ain't
Oh,
gonna-
Yeah.
aw.
no,
I mean, at no point would that go well for him.
no.
Mr.
He's
Taylor
tough.
I
He's
was like,
tough
Mr.
now.
Fort
but-
Worth. Wait, wouldn't that, I guess that would be JMT.
Getting
But I
busted elbow for
remember
sure.
when I started playing in the early 90s, he was kind of in the midpoint of his career and was a presence. People
Yeah.
know who he was, but there's a power of just kind of sticking around, and if
Winning by default.
yeah, if you've just been there the longest, and also being a badass songwriter that helps, but
being a genuine good human. Did
yeah,
you-
just being a good guy.
Yeah.
But he's also, I think, it's weird to say. So years ago, right before Kurt Vonnegut died, he was writing some of the best commentary on society because he had seen so much of society.
Yeah.
You know, he had been through the Depression, World War II, and then the 50s and 60s and 70s, and he'd been through all of this. And so the long tunnel of perspective that he had was invaluable. You know, you can't replace that. And so I feel like when I talk to Taylor after a show or something, he will bring up an anecdote or something from, you know, the mid 80s or something that there's no way, count on one hand the number of people who know that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, while we're on the subject, Taylor, I will tell you, I was at a singer-songwriter thing, and I'm listening to him play one of his originals, and I'm going to say this on a recording. He made me cry.
Yeah.
I mean, not,
I know.
I wasn't sobbing, okay? But I had, I had the watery eyes.
You
for
know
sure.
what's great about that?
Yeah.
Last night, so it was him, me, and Denver and Keegan, and we were talking to audience members after the show, and somebody came up to him and said, "You made me cry with that
Seriously,
song."
man.
And
his songwriting is exceptional.
What he said
he
was,
tells stories.
Well, what he said
what
was,
does it for me. I'm like, that's
he said, "Well, it makes me cry."
something special.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, if it doesn't make me cry, how do I expect it to make anyone else cry? So, you know.
I mean, I can't even remember what the song was about, but
Yeah.
it just, I mean, there
He
was a solid 3 minutes where I was fucked up.
Well, he carries that wistfulness, that kind of, and again, you hear the weight of memory and the weight of experience in his songs. And
he conveys it very well.
Yeah, and it's real because he's got years of chops, but also just the time and the observation, the things that he observes in some of his lyrics when he's talking about the color of a car or you know, the shape, the condition of a couch or something, like very small detailed thing. It's like Tom Waits talks about. He tries to fit in place names, like, you know, a street or a landmark or something.
I know somebody that does that.
Well, who did I rip it off from? Because it does. It kind of takes. Okay, you know, this is where I am. It orients you.
Yeah.
You know, where is this story taking place? And he's one of those that has definitely learned that lesson. And I actually think Keegan is one who's done that too. At a younger age,
He's probably still on.
Because some of his.
Are you there, Keegan?
Keegan?
Are you there? Say something. Is that a blinker?
That was one of the funniest things ever.
That was pretty great.
Are we on just like speakerphone in the middle of the poker game right now? Like, what's going on?
Put Tedder on. Well,
hilarious.
And it's one of those things that frustrates people like me. It took me. I was probably 28, 29 before I wrote what I consider to be a decent song. It took me longer to develop. And he's one of those who developed a lot quicker. And, you know, it's always interesting to me to see people who kind of have that instinct earlier of how to construct a song and make it affecting. And, I you know, a lot of credit for that. And actually, Denver's good at that, too. He's good at creating odd little moods.
I need to get Denver on.
Yeah.
You do.
I've talked to him several times.
You got his sticker?
I do. I know. It needs to go on the Glass Case Hall of Fame. We need to do some of those.
You need stickers. We need to get you stickers. What are we
do need
doing?
to get
I know.
stickers.
Do you know?
They're expensive.
Yeah, and it's
they
embarrassing because it's always.
You get 20 free.
There's always something that needs my money more than that. Like I'm paying somebody to mix or master.
If you guys
stuff
would like to sponsor Matthew's stickers,
Yes, go on. Go on.
please reach out to Matthew Broyles
How do we do it?
at the Matthew Show at
TheMatthewShow.com.
Okay.
Oh, at gmail.com as well.
Okay, so
That's his email.
let's do that. Let's get all the links and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's tell the people where to find. Let's start with Trista.
Yes.
Trista, where are we going?
artoftristastudios.com.
Okay.
You can find me on all social medias, Trista.Morris on Instagram, because I don't know why I made it my name.
You also teach art classes under.
Oh, yeah. I teach art classes. Thank you. I forgot all about my classes. I actually have one coming up.
You've been doing a lot.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I do all kinds of things.
Don't let me forget. I'll post them every time.
Shit. Okay. So just find us. It's Art30TX on Facebook right now. We haven't gotten a website. I'm just linking it to my personal.
You don't
can
need a
reach out to
website.
me. It's
Yeah.
all good. Art30TX on Instagram. And come come join us for Lola's.
And sometimes
paint
at
night
these
Lola's.
paint nights, I will provide music for these things. So
Yes.
at Lola's on Sunday, I will be providing.
You guys have
music
done
for
some excellent little collaborative things.
it. It's kind of
Matthew
fun.
playing, you painting. It's beautiful.
It's fun
I love
because I think there's an element of spontaneity to it. And plus, I get to try out all these little noodly bits that I haven't figured out what to do with yet. So
And it's cool because the audience has no idea that you're doing experimental stuff. They think it's all like
Yeah,
it's
like, yeah.
pre-planned. Yeah, like I've had people come up at the end of my class and be like, "Was that an original or was he?" I'm like, "No, that was probably just him."
I was fucking around.
Playing around.
No, it's
All
good.
right.
It's good for that.
Where do we go for Matt Broyle's content?
You can go a number of places. TheMatthewShow.com is the kind of the central repository. I do. I have.
So elegant.
I'm on all the socials. It's usually either The Matthew Show or Mr. The Matthew Show.
You're more consistent than me. I'm just like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just,
But
Well-
you can find all major outlets have my music. All the major outlets have my books. I've got 2 novels, 1 essay compilation. I've got several albums out.
Books,
Yeah.
Rewired.
Yeah,
Got it. Need to read it.
Rewired's the first novel. Trinity's the second one. I've got a book of essays called Other Gods.
you have poetry books.
Yeah,
I
so
am illustrating.
yeah, so if that's more of a personal thing. So if you want a chapbook of my poetry with a custom piece of artwork by Trista Morris on the cover, you can just message me on the interwebs, and we'll get you one.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun thing that we do sometimes.
You two are pillars of the Fort Worth community and some of my closest friends.
Oh,
And I can't thank you enough for being back
tell you
on the
what,
show.
man, we appreciate what you do, and we appreciate
For sure.
all of those things you do for the community.
Thank you.
I think
You're-
And I could
you're
stand for a
reaching
few
the right
more
people.
compliments. Yeah, you guys are the best.
also your hair is great. So,
Your
you know.
fucking hair is great. Jesus, I was gonna bring that up. Do you curl your hair?
No, it just
It just
goes
does
like
that.
That's
It just does
beautiful.
that. he actually, it was the most hilarious thing. We were in the middle of Amarillo, Texas, and checking into this weird ass 70s style castle hotel. I don't even know. But the kid at the front, Matt hands him his license, and his license, he's all,
I was very clean cut when I
clean
took that
cut,
license.
Yeah.
clean shaven and shit,
And he looks like
and
he
was
looks
he
up
was
at this Yeti.
Whoa, whoa, man.
Before
I
he
was
said anything, he was like,
And to this day, we're unsure if he was just high or stunned, but
I think it was a little combo.
Yeah.
Probably.
If you're
Probably.
on the middle of the night desk duty at the lodge in Amarillo,
Oh, I
you're
got
probably stoned.
I got to messing with him. He goes, there's no pets allowed. You got any animals? I was like, I'm the pet tonight.
Oh, nice.
Whoa. I was like, oh, I feel so accomplished
I'm the
right
pet
now.
tonight.
No, I wasn't. We crashed the fuck out.
I'm sorry,
when we
that's
got
hot.
in.
You gotta mess with the door guy a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, can we do it again?
Yeah.
All right.
think we
Next
should absolutely
time,
do it again.
we promised
down.
we were going to talk about more nerdy shit. We really didn't.
Yeah, I know.
I love the way this episode went.
I do
but
too. Well,
Next
we kept
time,
getting
I want nerdy shit.
Okay. All right. I will.
Okay.
I will bring reference materials.
I should have had an outline for sure.
I'll bring
And I said
encyclopedia.
I said we were going to do 4 hours.
We're talking about tornadoes.
We
and
only did
storm
3.
systems.
Man, but who's gonna make it to the end? Are there people who make it to the end of a 3-hour episode?
Yeah,
Okay.
not many. For those of you that did it, you are the real Fort Worth Roots fans.
Yes.
Or
you really do have nothing better
We
to do.
appreciate you and your unslept selves.
Where the rubber meets the road is whenever I take 10 video clips out of this and promote the shit out of that. And it's going to be like us saying the dumbest shit. Those are my favorite clips.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. All
I
right.
always did that with barbershops. Like, let's find the dumbest shit we can post on there.
We're going to go have a celebratory drink down there at McFly's.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, this 3-hour-long episode. Wait, it's not going to be that long because we're going to trim out some potty breaks. but
2 hours?
two and a half
hours.
solid hours. Yeah.
Make sure Keegan hangs up.
Keegan, are you still there?
Keegan, how's the poker game going?
See ya. Huge shout out to our friends, our longtime friends, our return guests, Trista Morris and Matthew Broyles, for being back on the show. Let's do it again, guys. And next time, more nerdy stuff. Yes. All right. Let's see here. And, we always post Trista's stuff whenever she's got an event going on, and Matthew whenever he's doing the thing. So you can find information on our guests, Matthew, Trista, and everybody else on the Fort Worth Roots Facebook page, our Instagram. The TikTok is just more like a dumpster fire. So anyway, Instagram and Facebook, that's where you get the good stuff. All right. Please come see me Thursday out at Pouring Glory. Kicking off at 2 o'clock. We got old Denver Williams up on stage. We've got the Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations. He's doing a solo thing, so it's not the full band, but it's going to be great. And then we got 2 more artists. There's been some change-ups, so I'm not sure who they are, but they're awesome. You can believe that, rest assured. It's going to be a good time. There's a special menu and all sorts of other stuff, and I'm going to be putting that up on Facebook as Scott rolls that out during the week, but good stuff. Keep an eye and ear on our Facebook and Instagram page for that. And then, like we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, we've got the River Oak Springfest Car Show, April 22nd. That's going to be out there at the Camp Carter grounds, the YMCA Camp Carter. It's beautiful out there. If you have never gone and seen this thing, here's your excuse. Go check that thing out, April 22nd. And then right after that, I'm going to pick up my shit, and we're going to go over to McFly's, where we're going to get to hang out with Claudia Wells, legendary actress that was the girlfriend in Back to the Future, Marty McFly's girlfriend. And she's done a lot of other stuff, too. I just, don't know the full history. But incredible actress, going to be there, signing autographs, hanging out, taking photos. It's going to be cool. The Crawfish Boil. If you like crawfish, there's another reason to come. That's from 3 to 8. And then the sun's going down. We're going to be watching a movie on the big screen. Let me see if it says what movie. I'm not seeing. Bring a picnic blanket and enjoy McFly's first summer movie night of 2023. I'm not seeing the name of the movie. Doesn't even matter, really. It's going to be awesome. I would think since Claudia Wells is going to be there that it's probably going to be Back to the Future, but I don't know that. So, okie dokie. What else? That's it for events. We've got other stuff coming up. I've got a thing June 24th that the entire community is welcome to come hang out and be a part of this thing. If you want to go ahead and put that on your schedule. We're going to be doing short little interviews with everybody that wants to come out and do an interview. And we're not going to do restrictions. Fort Worth Roots is all about Fort Worth. And we highlight people that are making something, a book, a film, music, things like that, but no restrictions. So if you're selling Herbalife, you can come out there. Whatever. Just come on out, talk to me. We'll give you, very least, I think we can give everybody 5 minutes and on the Roadcaster. Just kind of shout out what they got going on. It's going to be fun. It's the first time we've done something like this, so. But that's going to be at Pouring Glory. That's going to be June 24th. So that's the next thing out. But there's going to be more coming. We're going to do more events this year. A lot more. I want to try to schedule at least one every month. So good stuff. And then we're trying to cook up something with Body Machine Fitness out there. We don't know what we're doing yet. Just kind of spitballing ideas, but it's going to be cool. I'll let you know whenever we got some details on that. Okay, sponsors. WoodPostMetalworks.com. Use the offer code podcast817 whenever you go to WoodPostMetalworks.com. They specialize in metal signs with or without LED backlighting, fence and gate repair or installation, light steel fabrication, industrial plasma cutting, and more. Houk Walker Originals. Go to HoukWalker.com. They offer a huge variety of unique and personalized gifts. Also laser engraving to customize just about anything you can think of. And just recently, Angela has stepped away from her hourly job to focus more on Houk Walker Originals. So we can expect some pretty rad creations coming out of that dilly whapper there, Houk Walker Originals, HoukWalker.com. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. You can get them at roofingsolutionshouk.com. Their phone number is 817-882-6520, and you can get 50% off just by dropping my name or the podcast. Tell them Fort Worth Roots is where you heard about it. They'll give you 50% off on a roofing tune-up. It's pretty valuable stuff. It's something you need to do probably annually. But after these little hailstorms we've had, the high winds and all that, this is a good time to get a qualified, trusted local roofer up there just to check things out, reseal pipe jacks, vent covers, things like that, and just make sure you don't have any water intrusion up there. Cool. All right. And we, of course, Body Machine Fitness is our newest sponsor. Guys, this is incredible, this little thing they got going on over here. This is the dream of Mr. Jeremy over there, the owner. Came up with the idea for this thing. He wanted to do something completely different than anything he'd ever done before, as far as workout scenarios. He'd been to all the little boutique fitness places and gyms and stuff, and it just wasn't doing it for him. So he explains this better in the episode we did with Jeremy, Body Machine Fitness episode we did like a year ago. But they're using lights and sound and rhythm to kind of enhance the experience. You go in there and you do a 60-minute class. Today really blew my mind because I was out there doing a class. It's 60 minutes long, and all right, honest moment, I was hungover. We just did this camping trip, drank for like 12 hours, really unattractive stuff, okay? But I made my ass go to this gym, and the 60-minute class went by in the blink of an eye. And it's because of the way they present the class, and it's probably the last hope I have of getting in shape before 40. Because I go in there, and I tell people it's kind of turnkey. If I show up, I'm good. They take over. I don't have to think. I don't have to plan out my workout. They just do it for me. And I just do what the person tells me. They're inter-trainers. Their inter-trainers are really nice people. Know what they're doing. Okay, anyway, your first class is paid for. It's already been paid. So all you got to do to schedule your class is go to bodymachinefitness.com, and there's a tab for signing up for that class. You put your information in there, pick the date and time that works best for you, and then go do the thing. And if you want me to go with you, hit me up. Just send me an email, media@fortworthroots.com. Say, hey, I'm going to go on this day, and I want you to go with me. And I will go. Let's go. Let's do the thing. Okay. And then McFly's Pub, of course. Located over here outside the East Gate. I'm not going to give you the address because it's really weird, but you can just type it into your phone. It's the only McFly's Pub in Fort Worth. But it's outside the East Gate of JRB Carswell, the military base out here. And it's an 80s Back to the Future themed bar. It's just really chill. They've got all these little lounge areas. Definitely have never seen a bar like this before. They put a lot of care and attention into every detail, and they made this thing very, very truly unique. The outside patio area is badass. I don't know that this detail is going to help you very much as we move into summer, but they have the biggest, baddest fire pit I've seen at any bar, any place here in Fort Worth. And I've spent quite a bit of time hanging out with local legends, sitting around that campfire. It's not a campfire, but a fire pit, and just trading stories, listen to these guys tell it how it is, stuff like that. It's cool. You should check it out. And I'm always available not always available, but yeah, if you want me to hang out with you down there, just let me know. media@fortworthroots.com. We'll have a date. It'll be wonderful. Okay. Just going through my notes, making sure I didn't forget anybody. Who did I forget? We got it all. Pouring Glory, you know about them. And that's going to be happening Thursday. You should come out and check that out. Their food is incredible. They have a huge wall of beer on tap, if you're into that kind of thing. Something that has gotten very popular is the Sunday dog free play. You can bring your dog, take it off the leash, let it run around on the patio. This thing used to be a parking lot. And during COVID, they fenced it in, closed it up, and so now it's just a great space for entertainment, live music, and letting the dogs off the leash. It's a good deal. And Scott, the owner out there, takes a lot of care to like plant new plants and make it all pretty for you and stuff. So it's just a really chill vibe. And everybody I run into out there is just really nice. So if you're big on vibes with places, this one's got a good one. So check that out. Pouring Glory, located kind of off of Main Street. They're not on Main Street, but it's down in that near South Side area. And that's another one you can just type into your phone. Pouring Glory. And Thursday, we've got the Pour Some Glory on My 420 event where you can come hang out, take a picture with me, jump on the mic if you want. I don't care. Let's do it. Okie dokie. That is it. It was a powerful weekend. Got a lot of stuff not done, but I had some relaxing conversation around a campfire with my friends, Robo-Tuner, Mr. Matt Thompson, and then the boys from Jerry Jonestown Massacre, Susie Ramone from, sorry, Susie. Wow. Fort Worth Famous. Excuse me. It's been a long one. And then Jeffrey Lord from the Funky Town podcast. Had a great time. Stayed up really late. Had too much to drink. And got to test out a tent that I haven't used in 2 years. There's a recording we did in Dripping Springs with Lucas Peterson the last time that tent got used. So anyway, unpacked that thing. No holes, no rips. It's great. And that's all in preparation for another big camping trip we got coming up. It's going to be fun. Okie dokie. Oh, we're finally going to Terlingua. We've been talking about that since episode 1. We're going to get to cruise on through that little neighborhood down there in southwest Texas. Cool. Okay. That's it. That's all our sponsors. That's all the events. A little bit about my weekend. We're good. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful week, and come see me. Come see me Thursday. Come see me Saturday. All right. Thanks for listening. See ya.